value. Let it brag with Wyman.
What's going on, guys? Philip Lindsay here, and I know there's at least 50 of you listening to me right now who are thinking about popping that question. And if you're ready for all that, you know you need a diamond. So let me save you time and money by telling you something as simple as this. Whether you're starting your next chapter with your perfect diamond engagement ring, or celebrating a new milestone, or finally just doing something special for yourself for once, this is where it's going to begin. Imagine the finest jewelry legends all in one store together, making you feel just like family, and their service is going to reflect that. So come shop the finest loose diamonds in Denver. They have every size, shape, and price range you can imagine, in the largest selection of engagement ring settings I've ever set eyes on. And not only are they going to share the secrets of the business with you, they're going to give you the best price in Colorado, guaranteed. So why wouldn't you want to create moments and memories for yourself and the ones you love by going to Williams Jewelers, the official jeweler of the Colorado Avalanche, Denver's first family of fine jewelers, located in Cherry Creek North on 3rd Avenue, and also in Inglewood at Broadway and Bellevue. And don't forget to mention my name, Philip Lindsay, when you step through one of those doors.
Your air duct cleaning experts, Ductworks.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Ductworks. Summertime is all about staying cool and comfortable. But what about the air flowing through your home? You rely on your AC all summer long. Make sure the air that's circulating in your home is clean and fresh. Your air ducts collect dust, debris, and allergens year-round, and summertime airflow keeps it moving throughout your house. It's one of the most overlooked parts of your home, but it impacts the air you breathe every single day. That's why I trust the professionals at Ductworks. They're personable. When you call, you're always going to talk to a live person. They're educated guys, and Ductworks is Colorado's top-rated air duct cleaning company, trusted by thousands of 5-star reviews. Before your AC works through another Colorado summer, make sure the air you're breathing is clean. Call them for a free estimate today. 303-425-0985. That's 303-425-0985, or online at ductworks.com.
303-425-0985.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents the Honorable Judge Dan.
Boyd riding shotgun. How are you, Mr. Boyd?
I'm feeling good, Dan. I'm excited. We got a locked and loaded show, a lot of content, a lot of good topics that are going to keep the chats buzzing. So I'm ready. Let's get it.
You know what's funny? I'm learning about you, right? Like you start to work with people and you have You start to learn. Like I had one guy, for example, that I knew exactly what kind of effort I was going to get out of him every Monday based on the performance of his fantasy football team on Sunday. Okay, if so, I could just look. I could log into the website. Be like, all right, I'm going to get a lot out of this guy today. If he was winning going into the Monday night game, donuts. He'd bring in donuts. He's skipping along. He's happy. And if he was going to lose, he was just miserable. Yeah.
So are you saying that something good happened to you last
Yeah.
night?
Well, no. Well, oh, did it? Do tell.
I mean, I was watching UFC like the rest of the world, and long story short and a short story shorter, before the debacle in the main event, I cashed a ticket.
Oh, okay.
A big one.
Well, I knew something was good because what I was going to say was last week you came in and you were dressed, I think you were like in sweatpants. You weren't looking too good. It was like the night before had been a little rough. And you and I talked off the air. There was a little bit of,
Little turmoil.
Little turmoil going on, which we won't get into, right? But then you come in today and you got bright popping pink shirt on. You got some very colorful pants on. You're smiling. You're feeling good.
That's right.
So I can probably, based on your attire, figure out, how we're going to get, on that. So by the way, I did want to start the fights. I'm doing it. I'm going to pull up Mike Evans. I'm going to flip-flop. Although, I, in fairness to myself, I did flip-flop on this position almost immediately. But with these UFC fights and some of these boxing matches, and at the time I was kind of like, Netflix may be onto something. It was, in May? It was the night of the Gina Carano-Ronda Rousey fight. And before that, they had Francis Ngannou on the card, and that was a decent little fight. He looked pretty good, And I thought, well, maybe they have something. At least they're giving us something to be interested in, right? Because the reason boxing is pretty much dead is, and by the way, isn't this ironic that Floyd Mayweather killed boxing, along with the promoters and all that, right? But what Floyd Mayweather found out was if you just dodge everybody until the guys are washed up, you can pretend you're making big fights, but it's easy money. It's huge money because the anticipation is built. And I don't care if I'm letting the fans down because it's no longer a good fight, but I can cash big money. And he did that. And then subsequent generations were like, yeah, that's a good model because before fighters would fight 4 or 5 times a year. Heck, Tyson was fighting maybe 10 times a year, like the first couple years, because they're really wanting him to get rounds in, and he was beating everybody in 1 or 2 rounds. But fighters fought everybody. And it wasn't like, oh, man, they lost a fight, so they're no longer a good fighter. They'd take the L, they'd come back, there'd be rematches, whatever. But Floyd really changed the equation on that. And fighters are, you're lucky if boxers anyway fight 2 or 3 times a year. 3 times a year, it just doesn't happen. Once you get ranked in the top 10,
yeah, you're a prospect when you're fighting 3 times a year.
Yeah, which is just ridiculous, right? So it's ironic that Floyd was kind of leading the charge on that. You have Terrence Crawford, who just retired, who, to my knowledge, never fought a really true prime fight. Like, yeah. Now that Canelo is old and past his prime, he fought Canelo, and he had no problem fighting Canelo, and then he quit. Like, no other fights.
The turkey bag was so big, Dan, from Turkey al-Sheikh, that it was no reason for Bud to box anymore after that.
Yeah. So, but that's the funny thing. So Floyd, which is weird because he got in tax trouble as a young fighter when he was up and coming, and he was starting to get some purses. He got in trouble with the IRS. So you would think for a man that called himself Money, he'd get himself up to speed on what you do with money. But apparently he didn't. So he made all that money. Didn't they say maybe he actually made $1 billion? Like probably the highest paid athlete, just if you're just talking about for your performance on the court, field, ring, whatever, probably the highest paid of all time. But he doesn't have it. Like he's broke. He's literally charged with a felony for passing a $200,000 bad check. So it's a little bit ironic that he ruined the sport to get rich, and he may end up with very little.
And the crazy thing about it is, Dan, is he still to this day will put on this facade that he's okay money-wise. There's no real problems in his life. he still has people working for him, and he's able to take care of his family's lives, and et cetera, et cetera. But then reports come out that he's hurting like in ways that us as the normal person, we couldn't understand his type of brain.
Yeah, he's in deep trouble financially. That doesn't mean that he's living in the Motel 6 or anything like that. He's still got his mansions, but he's had to sell a lot. I wondered about the cars, and so I looked that up because he had this ridiculous car collection, which I can appreciate.
Cars and jewelry.
Jewelry, I'm not into. It's like, dude, what are you doing? There was an old picture or a video of Mike Tyson in a jewelry store when he was rolling deep, and he's like looking at this diamond, and then the sleazy salesman behind the glasses. Wow, Mr. Tyson, you have a great eye. You really know what you're talking about. No, what are you talking about with diamonds, man? You don't know anything. No, I don't know anything about who knows anything for real about diamonds.
But see, that's the thing right there. If Floyd would have maybe taken a different approach and put a few Subarus in his car collection rather than the Bugattis and these exotic vehicles, then he probably would be in a little bit better situation. But guys take their checks and they spend them the way they do, and they put themselves into a lifestyle that, I don't think they think that 40 years down the line is going to mature, to
40.
them being, or even 20 years.
20
years down the line and them being broke,
Yeah. But the good news for him is he can still make money. And Tyson wound up making money again now. He says, man, I make more money now with these, rigged setup fights than
Floyd's trying to fight Tyson?
Dude, that's a whole other story, man. You got to look that up. Like, he said he announced a fight with Pacquiao, then he announced a fight with Tyson, and then he was going to fight this other dude because he can get 50 or 100 million a whack. But then he started getting sued for those, like, because he owed a promoter money, and the promoter's like, you got to stop that. And like, yeah, he's in all sorts of hurting. But yeah, Tyson said with these new Netflix Jake Paul fights, I'm making more money than I did as a fighter. Which is where just to bring this thing full circle, is where I'm flip-flopping. For a second there, I was like, wow, this is kind of cool, the nostalgia, I like it. And then as soon as Carano got blitzed right from the second of the jump on the bell, and that was a supremely disappointing fight. All the Mike Tyson fights have been supremely disappointing. And then, last night, Conor McGregor, who I can't stand anyway. I just don't like the guy. He's not a good dude. And I don't wish him any success in life. And so he comes out, all this build up to this or that, and then he just comes out, and for it to end like that.
Know what he did, Dan, right? He built the promotion.
Yeah.
They sold the tickets. The pay-per-view was on Smash last night.
Yeah.
I seen more casual people, and I say that respectfully. I seen more people that don't know anything about UFC, never mentioned it to me before, were all of a sudden tuned in for last night. And that fight, the main event, didn't even last more than 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was like 109 seconds, but, they're feeling each other out, right? Now, here's the thing. Was last night was pay-per-view? So that's the only thing about some of these things. Because another thing that helped ruin boxing was, because I was a huge boxing guy. I was the top boxing guy as far as covering fights at the station. I went to local fights. I love boxing.
That makes two of us, Dan. That's why we get along so well. I like that.
I loved it. And so anytime there was a boxing match on pay-per-view, I bought every single one of them. I was a junkie for the sport. But, it started out, there were, $40, $50? And then they're like, well, if you have an HD television, we're going to lop another 10 or 15 on. Well, then it got to the point, do they even sell non-HD TVs anymore?
No, you got to get one that's in 4K. Otherwise, you're in bad shape.
So you're upcharged for just having your own television, a regular television, and then they got to $90, $120, and then it's like, dude, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, especially for these fights, and then they don't have big fights, and the cards are paper thin. Like, okay, you have a main event. Blah, blah, it's just worthless. But at least the thing about the new model that they're experimenting with is for Netflix, it's okay. They can afford to shell out $150 million for a Floyd Mayweather or Mike Tyson or a Jake Paul fight without having to get into our pockets for the pay-per-view, because the amount of new subscriptions they get for that fight, and which is kind of genius, right? Because
it was a major cash grab.
Because the subscriptions are not like you run a pay-per-view, then you get your money and then that's it. You move on to the next one. If you get new subscribers to Netflix, now some may jump off, some may just do the free trial and jump off, but enough of them are going to stay and you get paid on that month after month after month after month. So I don't mind the model as when I don't have to pay out of my pocket for it. But I do mind it with like the NFL and stuff where, live events where I can't rewind. I don't like my football on streaming services like that. So at least it's better in that regard. So it's not a straight up fleecing of, like, Mike Tyson should just be ashamed of himself. Like, Floyd Mayweather has no scruples anyway, so I'm sure he doesn't lose sleep at night. But these nostalgia fights or these Conor McGregor fights, like, it's over. Like,
I felt bad for him because this was a moment, the guy's been out the octagon for 5 years. The last time he was in the octagon, he snapped his leg in two, and then the same leg that he, comes into last night's fight with, he used it as a springboard, like he was feeling good, and then he turns around and hurts the other leg, and then he tries to deny that he tore his knee up. But he actually did, though.
Yeah. No, I don't feel bad for that guy. He's got no class. You know what the leg breaking thing was? Karma.
That's karma.
You remember his disrespectful attitude and his jerk behavior going into that fight? Yeah, that's called karma.
He's been smug. He's had a smug attitude for a few years now. I was very surprised that they even gave him a chance to get back into the octagon.
Money.
But the nostalgia, right, is the reason why everybody was there last night. The T-Mobile Arena was packed all the way up to the gills because of him. Yeah. The rest of the card was sold. They had some good fights on there, but everybody was there to see Conor McGregor, and it kind of sucks that the fans left a little unsatisfied last night.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it was a neat little phenomenon, this whole nostalgia thing. You know me, listen, man, I'm all into the DeLoreans and all that stuff. I love nostalgia. That's kind of why I was initially drawn in, but hopefully this stuff has run its course relatively soon.
We're going to pack him up.
Yeah.
Last night was pack Conor McGregor up. He's done.
Yeah, he's done. All right, so saw that happen last night. Wanted to touch base on that. By the way, we got breaking news. We did hear from Kyle Reese. One of the other things I wanted to do in this opening segment, some fun topics that we could take, just come back to on occasion for the rest of the show. We'll be here for almost another 3 hours. And but Kyle Reese, I was talking to Cello, and it was like, I said, Kyle, where'd you go, Coach? Where'd you go? He's like, I went to Hawaii, and he had like a nice, spring in his voice when he said that. And then I left the room. I'm like, wait a minute, how is it going with Kyle on vacation? Because he's a little bit of a curmudgeon. For example, I was going to talk about maybe later in the show. I'll just bring it up. I'm listening to Kyle and Cello on the way in today, and Kyle's being. Kyle's not like a ray of sunshine himself. I enjoy listening to him very much, but, he's not Mr. Positivity.
No, he's a get off my lawn topic.
But in this case, he's like, hey, the Rockies are kind of pleasantly surprised, blah, blah, blah. And Kyle Reese is like, I don't care what we're talking about, not losing 100 games. Why are we having this? Like, dang, dude.
Kyle.
Man, we're making some strides here. Everybody thought they were not only going to lose 100 games, but maybe lose 130 or 40 games. When Paul DePodesta, the Moneyball guy, was hired, it was roundly panned, except for on this show, about, just a terrible idea and this and that. I'm like, can we give these guys a chance? Can we give them a minute? And here they do. They come out, despite, as Kyle and Cello were talking about, having the worst pitching in the league. They're making real, measurable progress. And Coach Reese is like, no.
I mean, the fact that the Rockies have relevance around the trade deadline with moving pieces coming in and out, that's a win in itself.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since that's happened.
He's just pouring cold water on it. So I got to thinking, there are a couple, I'm sure I'm missing some, but generally there's a couple types of vacationers, right? Like the ones that are, oh, man, this is beautiful. I love it. I don't want to go back home. Those types. Right, just soaking up every second of it, and they love it. And then there's like the worrywart vacationer, which I kind of pegged Kyle as a worrywart vacationer. Like always worried about how much things are going to cost, and what are we going to do next? And man, we didn't get the right rental car, and they like for example, when I went to Hawaii, the only time I've ever been. I checked in, and it was like a vacation rental, and they're like, by the way, it's $10 a day if you want air conditioning. We'll give you the key to turn on the thermostat, right? Which kind of sucked, but I'm not going to let it ruin the vacation.
What kind of rig is that?
I know, man. I know, right? Talk about nickel and diming you. of course I paid for it. And then you go and you turn a key on the AC and it worked. But I'm talking about things like that. I could see in my mind, I could picture, as soon as I'm like, wow, Hawaii's awesome. Then I'm like, but wait a minute, and then, it's hot. It's hot here. Man, I had to get a gallon of milk for the kids and it was $6. Which type of vacationer was that is Kyle. And
you think he's a nickel and diamond type of guy on vacation?
Yeah, I do. Oh, I 100% believe that because he's a nickel and diamond guy, and he told me that. Like, I'm not taking shots. Like, he told me.
He's a frugal gentleman.
He's like, that's who I am. And so I can't imagine that just magically stops on vacation. Like, he's like, hey man, let's get the. So the first meal I got in Hawaii was like a $80 dry aged steak at the steakhouse. I was hungry. I'm like, let's do it. We're on vacation. If you can't blow it out here, where can you blow it out? Boom, first meal. Like, I don't think Kyle's doing that. Now, he's probably enjoying the natural serenic beauty and all that stuff. So he texted in. He heard me asking the question. He says, no, I'm a great vacationer. Nothing but positive vibes. I'm like, well, that's good. I don't know if I believe it, but that's good. That's good. Which then also, by the way, we already got some submissions on this. But so then I got to thinking about, like, what are some great summer movies, right? Like the ones which I think is one of those underrated ones. Like I talked about Kingpin, but Summer School with Mark Harmon.
That's a great movie.
Yeah. Old time great movie. Just fantastic. Love that movie. And then I'm like, well, what about the actual vacation movie? That was a summer, movie. That's fantastic.
I got a couple for you too, Dan.
Bring it on, man.
The Sandlot is one. The reason why I say that because they were on summer break playing baseball outside, right? And I mean that's
it's got an asterisk in it because it involves baseball. But okay. I'll let you continue.
All right. Well, then here goes one that's a pure vacation movie, The Inkwell.
Never heard of it.
You've a lot of actors and actresses that you see in movies over the years throughout the 90s. They were in this movie in the 80s. This was a big time flick, man. And I don't want to say that it was for a certain culture, but it was.
What are you saying? Is it a black movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a lot of black stars in it, type of thing. That's just not how I wanted to ride with it. But if you're out there, maybe tap in and Google The Inkwell and then go watch it. It's an all-time great, man. You watch that, Dan, you're going to love it. Trust me. Weekend at Bernie's is another one that I would probably go with, too.
Oh, see, man, you just ruined it. I was sitting here for a second going, wow, man, yeah, maybe I'm being enlightened. That's why we love having Sean on the show.
Inkwell's a good show, man.
I bet you Inkwell is like a sneaky sleeper movie that nobody knows about that I'll really enjoy watching. And then you follow that up with Weekend at Bernie's and you destroy all credibility.
Weekend at Bernie's 1, 2, and 3.
Get
Classic.
Get out of here. Otherwise known as the Mitch McConnell Chronicles. No, Weekend at Bernie's is ridiculous. Somebody said just, I think it was Cello's Ferris Bueller count. But The Great Outdoors also, man, outstanding. So if you have any of those that you're kind of partial to, go ahead, lay them on us. And then, by the way, I guess just breaking news, as because Kyle's on his way to the
football
Pueblo right now, football camp in Pueblo. Yes, that one restaurant. Which restaurant were we talking about? It's still open down there. They were wondering, is this place still open? Yeah, I think it's. Yes, Captain D's is right next to the Pueblo Mall. A couple other submissions. Heavyweights, great summer movie.
Heavyweights is a good one.
Never watched that.
Good with the kids.
Is that a football football movie?
Dude, you don't even want to know. It's a movie for fat camp.
Oh,
so they send a bunch of fat kids.
Probably should have watched that. Yeah,
they send a bunch of fat kids down to summer camp, and pretty much Ben Stiller is like torturing them.
Oh man, I should watch that. Adventureland. I don't think I ever watched that either. Don't know what that is. Stand By Me, another one I should watch.
Stand By Me?
I've never seen it.
That's a good one.
That's embarrassing to say.
Yeah, that and the Inkwell, Dan, I'm pretty surprised at you, man, because I thought you was well-rounded like that, man.
I like to think of – now, Lean on Me was one of my favorite movies as a kid, right? But it's not Stand By Me, and I know Stand By Me is iconic. I was just a little young when that came out.
I mean, Stand By Me was like one of those movies that, like, when the substitute teacher – was in my class, they would put that on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the and I got that one confused with another one because I think I get it confused with Stand and Deliver, which was Edward James Olmos.
That's another one.
That's
maybe I'm thinking of Stand and
which
Deliver.
I also have not
That's
seen.
a school movie.
Yeah. I have also not seen that one, although I did see what's the one with Michelle Pfeiffer with Gangster's Paradise?
Oh, Dangerous Minds.
Dangerous Minds. I did see that, so I'll give myself credit for that. Let's see here. Just before we head to our first break, we got Meatballs. Summer Rental by John Candy. Yeah, that's on the list. That's actually on the rundown. That's a good.
It's a good movie, though.
It's good. It's good. It's like a little guilty pleasure.
Why? Why do you think so?
Well, it's just not. It's not like The Great Outdoors, right? It's not Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which is not a summer movie, but just an iconic, all-time great, comedy. Summer Rental is just like, yeah, that was good. Like, you feel good after it, and it's decent. It's you're not gonna be like, hey, what's your favorite movie? Summer Rental.
Now, I'm going to throw this one out there before we go to the break, and hopefully the people out there feel me.
Mm-hmm.
Good Burger.
Was that like Keenan and Kel or something?
That's
like that?
right. And he got out for summer break, wrecked mom's car. Now
Oh.
he's got to go work at Good Burger, baby. Come on, man.
What is this line from? Lunch is canceled due to a lack of hustle.
That guy, I don't know. What is he, quoting Varsity Blues? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know on that. Somebody says The Last Starfighter. That's from Paul Off the Wall. I remember. I think I was pretty young with that too, and it was trying to like take advantage of like the Star Wars, like that sci-fi craze, and it just never really hit. I think it had something to do with like a video game.
See, a lot of those movies that they're naming off, those were like the ones that I would walk by in Blockbuster and never. I would see the title, the picture of it, and then just walk past.
You know what I just was thinking about showing my 8-year-old daughter? I love this game, man. This movie, Cloak and Dagger. You ever
Never heard of it.
It has Dabney Coleman, and it was basically a movie for young kids. During that age, the way we would daydream and pretend we were like secret agents, and we played Atari and stuff like that. It had like an Atari game in it and all this stuff. And yeah, the kid that played E.T. Was this Patrick something Thomas, right? Like, so he was like the star of the movie, and then Dabney Coleman played like really good. Anybody else? Please, we're going to break here, but anybody else out there even know what I'm talking about with Cloak and Dagger? I think a true. Yeah. Let's talk about that. All right, and then coming up next, CBS with the Zach Bye backhanded compliment on Bo Nix. We'll get to that next.
Should fans and media look past a certain thing when it comes to Peyton Watson?
It's a gamble that you have to take if you're the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, and don't we have to get over the fact that it's a $25 million a year deal? I know it. The money is insane. It's stupid. It is reckless. It is foolish, okay? I get it. I hate to say it, but $25 million a year isn't that much.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
DeerTrailMeatCo.com. DeerTrailMeatCo.com. Got a fun story here for you. I was talking to Travis Valine yesterday, texting back and forth. He's the owner, along with his wife, Deb, and they run DeerTrailMeatCo.com. He kind of runs the ranch. She runs the actual meat locker there in Deer Trail. And I said, how things going? He told me a nice little story. He says, had a Dan Jacobs Show listener. He came in, he ordered an entire cow, a whole beef, they call it, right? And he kind of split it up with his family. Well, what they'll do at Deer Trail is, if you ask, they create these dog treats, these liver treats and some of these other dog treats. And the guy called him back a couple weeks later. He says, Travis, love it, everything. The steaks are outstanding. Love all that ground beef. But we're out of the dog treats, man. My dog went absolutely nuts. Will you take care of us? And so this week, they're delivering free of charge. They're going to Castle Rock and dropping off some new dog treats. They'll take care of their dogs, your dog, but they'll also take care of you with tremendous savings. They deliver the stuff to your front door with a money-back guarantee. You're going to love it. You're going to save 70, 80% off what you pay at the grocery store. Don't take my word for it. Just go to DeerTrailMeatCo.com and check things out.
If there's one thing you can count on, it's 24/7 protection when you bundle home and auto insurance with Progressive. And if there's two things you can count on, it's your smoke detector battery dying at 3 a.m. Not 3 p.m. on a Saturday when you have nothing going on, but in the middle of the night when you're fast asleep.
Oh, come
on!
Get 24/7 protection when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Just one more thing you can count on. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
This summer, the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich and Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite are back at Chick-fil-A.
Let me tell you about the Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite. It's bright, it's bubbly, it's back.
The Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich, it's so rich, and you can choose between the original or the spicy filet.
Ooh, boy.
And then you got those pickled jalapenos tucked right under the filet, and then just to top it all off, you've got a little honey drizzle right on top.
Okay, now I'm a pimento fan.
And I'm feeling the dragon fruit.
Which fan favorite will you choose? Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Don't care for my local hometown team, ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Don't get fooled by out-of-state private equity corporations that are buying local HVAC companies, offering higher prices, bad service, and shady sales tactics. Don't trust your home to someone out of state when you have the best company right here in town. ROX are experts in local energy rebates and tax credits to save you money only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
It's easy to find your groove. As America celebrates, Groove Toyota, the oldest family-owned Toyota dealership in the Denver Metro, has more reasons to celebrate. Choose from hundreds of pre-owns, 40 under 15 grand. GrooveToyota.com, plus Groove Toyota has more than 100 used Toyotas, including Toyota Certifieds with full warranties available. Hurry into our Red, White, and Drive event. Groove Toyota. Start here, go anywhere.
Offer expires 7/31/26. Not all will qualify. Restrictions apply. With approved credit call 720-961-4465 for complete details.
It's no secret that the checkout line feels a lot heavier. If those daily essentials are ending up on a credit card, those double-digit interest rates are quietly draining your bank account. If that debt is starting to feel heavy, you're not alone. And if you're a homeowner, you've likely looked at your mortgage rate and thought, I can't touch that. With American Financing's Smart Equity Loan, you don't have to. It allows you to wipe out high-interest debt and lower your monthly overhead while keeping your primary mortgage intact. It's a surgical strike against debt. Unlike a fluctuating HELOC, the Smart Equity Loan is a fixed-rate loan, giving you a predictable monthly payment. At American Financing, there are never any upfront fees to find out what you qualify for. Guys, talk to a salary-based mortgage consultant today. Experts who are paid to help you save, not sell you more than you need. So call them at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
You're listening to the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports, 104.3 The Fan.
See, this is the weird thing. So Sean Boyd picks the bumper music, and I'm just looking at my research here I'm doing during the break, and I hear whatever that was that came in. I'm like, the thing that's going through my head is I have to go to Sean and say, Sean, we're better than that, right? I'm like, this is terrible. It's like banging two pots together while scratching your nails on a chalkboard. And I look over and you're bumping your head, you're thumping your head. Like that, to you, that's music. That's good music. That's like art.
Yeah, 'cause that actually was played from in a TV show, a famous TV show that I seen that as an outro to just recently.
You know what happened to that show? It got canceled probably because of that song.
The Sopranos never got canceled.
Oh, that's from The Sopranos?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. I don't remember that, but it, yeah, not my cup of tea. No, you know what else is not my cup of tea right now? The stinking internet, man.
The internet's undefeated, Dan. So what happened?
We are ruining the stinking internet. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm doing the show prep, right? And I'm like, I heard about these CBS quarterback rankings. I want to jump in. I want to do my research. I'm in the production room, and it has whatever search engine, probably Google on that browser. And I go bloop, 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 bloop. And I get these quarterback rankings, but it wasn't directly from the CBS website, and it's not easy to find on the CBS website. So I clicked this other link, which I thought was Reddit, and it brought up this graphic. It said CBS, the text said CBS. I'm like, man, I don't know if I believe this. So it was going to be a show topic for this segment. And then I teased it right before the break here, and I said, let me just double check, because this is weird. Like, this list had Jordan Love is like the number 3 quarterback in the league, ahead of Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and maybe Joe Burrow. I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. So I come in again, And I actually find the real list from the website here, a completely different list. So I don't know what that was. It's just a bunch of misinformation. And you just can't. By the way, AI, we've been sold a bag of goods so far.
Oh, the list was capped, Dan? This list is actually not a real list. It's
well,
capped.
no, I have the real list now, but the one I was looking at before the show, apparently not. Just fake. Now, AI, you just can't rely on it for show research at all because you just don't know. Like, they were, I was trying to do some research on the Nuggets salary cap yesterday, and it kept telling me about how much trouble the Nuggets are in on from a salary cap perspective because of that Michael Porter Jr. contract. And it mentioned it like twice. And I'm like, dude, he doesn't play here. He hasn't played here. They traded him last year. So I'm just feeling a little betrayed by the old internet right now. Like, did we ruin a good thing? Is it like boxing? Is it like UFC? Are we ruining a good thing? Like, we're just.
I don't know if we necessarily ruined it. I think that the internet, it ruins some of our minds because people actually live on the internet in more ways than one, so their minds are kind of warped because they believe that everything that they see on the internet is actually real.
Right, because one of our great, presidents, Abraham Lincoln, did say, if it's on the internet, it must be true. And that was one of his all-time great, he had the Gettysburg Address, obviously historic, right behind that, the quote about the internet from Abe Lincoln. But no, it used to be you'd Google something, different sources would come up, and then you would read the information, and you were like, okay, well, I don't know if I believe that or not. Can I go deeper? Can I check the citations or whatever? But now it's just spitting out misinformation. But like I said, particularly with AI, it's my understanding there might be like two things going on with AI. There's like real AI that mega corporations are using to actually improve things and processes and lives. And then there's the public AI, which I don't know the term. It's like the Crystal Pepsi or New Coke of internet. Like, it sucks. And it's not good at all. It's nothing that we promised. It's terrible. And you can't trust it. And so now I had something where I knew how to use and I had relative certainty on how to use it properly. And now we're just ruining it because we're making fake things that you can't trust. And it's a war on the truth. And I don't like it. I don't like if it's my quarterback rankings or my salary cap analysis or if I'm researching something that is really important in real life. I don't like it. But anyway, I digress. We move along into, did CBS issue a Zach By backhanded compliment on Bo Nix? So there was another thing they did as well. As I was doing my research, I couldn't find this list that we'll talk about in just a second. But they also did a redraft of the 2024 draft, right? The Bo Nix draft.
Yeah, I seen that list. I heard about those rankings.
And so they actually did him a favor. They bumped him up. Now, they still had him going to the Broncos at, 12 or whatever it was. But they bumped him up above Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy. So they say now he went from the 6th quarterback drafted, presumably the 6th best quarterback pre-draft or during the draft, to now he's up to number 4.
So that's still a backhanded compliment.
No. Here's where the backhanded compliment is. So they did a little blurb about it, and it says, all right, actual pick, Broncos, stick with Bo Nix, quarterback, Oregon. No notes here. The Broncos needed a quarterback after the Russell Wilson debacle, and Nix was a strong fit for Sean Payton's offense. Does he sometimes get a little too adventurous with the ball downfield? Yes. Does he play it safe too? Yes. Now, wait a minute. You're going to kill the guy no matter what he does?
No, two things can't be true in that form. If the guy takes too many chances and
then he's not playing it safe.
But he can't be playing it safe.
Yeah. But overall, Nix is the type of quarterback who can lead a team with a strong defense to the Super Bowl, and we might have seen it last year had he not gotten hurt. So it's like, he's a good guy. Yeah. I mean, he's a game manager. I mean, he's never going to, he'll need an elite defense. He'll need, a lot of help, but he can get you there. That's not exactly what quarterbacks want to hear.
We're going to have to throw that Bo Nix's ankle injury one play away from the Super Bowl. Like, that's over with. We got to get rid of that. That narrative has to go, and we're going to get rid of it today on the Honorable Show.
We can do that because at a minimum, 3 weeks from now when they go to camp, it's over. Like, what can you do now? But so, yeah, it's like when James was calling Nick's right-handed Tebow. Like that, oh, well, it's a compliment. Like initially he meant it as a slam, and then later he's like, well, Tebow was clutch.
Tebow never looked good winning games like that.
Yeah.
Bo Nix looked good winning games last year.
Yeah,
Tim Tebow never did.
By the way, I have another beef with James. Last week on the show, we had him on the show, right? And he slips in. We were talking about Russell Wilson, and he says, well, Russell Wilson's probably a top 5 all-time quarterback for the Broncos. I'm like, wait, what? I said, I'd have to look at that. But if that's true, it's just because they haven't really had that many great quarterbacks. Like, of course, you have John and Payton. And then after that, not a lot. But, those guys, played for a significant chunk of your franchise's history, maybe like 30 or 40% of it. So that's saying a lot. But I'm like, I don't know, maybe, but I'd have to look, blah, blah, blah.
So you're going to put him above Jake Plummer?
No, I think he was basically saying Elway, Manning, Plummer. I think he may even snuck
Greasy in there. He had to have.
Jay Cutler, I think maybe he was
Cutler,
in there, right?
Ooh.
Which is complicated. But that was his position on. It was either Friday or Sunday last week. I think it was Sunday.
So he's already flip-flopped since then.
I tune in on Monday. Literally the next day, I think it was with Jake Shapiro. And he's like, Jake asked him, he goes, who are your top 5 quarterbacks in Broncos history? He's taking Russell off the list and putting Bo Nix on the list. Like, Bo Nix is already a top 5 quarterback in team history, which maybe is.
Well, James has been bitten by recency bias, Dan. That's what happened.
But you can't change. It's like Zach is trying to sell this thing where he can weasel his way out of his opinions by saying, well, I have new information. I reserve the right to change my opinion based on new information. And when really what happened was your analysis just played out wrong. And so you're calling that new information, which is not really new information. It's just you looked at all the available data and you put your thought and all of your expertise into giving an opinion, and it turned out it didn't go the way you predicted it would. So you had egg on your face, and you're just saying you're changing your opinion based on new information. But can that really be true over the course of 24 hours when nobody's played a down? And we're talking about all-time history of the organization, and there was literally nothing. There was no event in the history of the organization that happened in that preceding 24 hours that would lead you to change your mind, other than you're just a flip-flop. You were for it before you were against it type thing. So that's my beef with James Maryland. And I would have talked to him about it, but he
weaseled out this week. He said,
I was giving him a hard time. I said, you're the guy that says that everybody's soft because they cancel school because it's too cold, or they don't play games. They canceled practice because of smog or things like that. So I just gave him a little bit of a hard time, but hopefully we'll check in with him next week. All right, so I want to continue this conversation because I also want to get to CBS's actual rankings of the quarterbacks. And is it good news or bad news for Bo Nix? We'll get your thoughts on that next.
Coach Prime hit Big 12 Media Day looking healthy, energized, and fully locked in.
Baby, we're coming.
After beating cancer and rebuilding his strength, Deion Sanders made it clear he's ready to lead a revamped Buffs roster featuring new defensive playmakers, a maturing QB room, and a team built to compete, not just talk. Prime says he's strong and he's there to win, but what will actually happen when the Buffs take the field this fall? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Jacob's Law, 303 Law 4040. 303 Law 4040. You're hearing me run the ads during the week talking about how important it is to have MedPay and UIM coverage. Here is another example. Have a client, won't mention particulars, but basically this client's walking out of a King Soopers, hasn't even left the front area, and somebody lost control of their car. Boom! Whacks her. Right? And so she gets hit. She has to go to the hospital, all that stuff. She had I think, I don't know, it was $25,000 or $50,000 in MedPay coverage. We were dancing around the office. We're like, that's free money. It's absolutely free money. And so we were able to get her a lot of money for her injuries and reimbursed for medical bills and things like that just because she had great coverage. And, of course, we got other recoveries as well, but that was a great way to start the claim. She didn't gamble that whoever hit her lost control and ran into a King Soopers was going to have good insurance. She protected herself. That's why we recommend it. You don't want to gamble with your injuries and your life like that. So make sure you have MedPay. Make sure you have UIM. And by the way, people do call. They take me up on this. If you have any questions, I don't make any money off this. I just want to do this as a public service announcement so that you can be protected. You can always call us during the week, 303-LAW-4040, and just ask, hey, Dan, what were you talking about? I'll tell you, 303-LAW-4040.
When you see this in your kitchen,
The stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
you hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
Progressive provides protection for your boat and other outdoor vehicles so you can explore new things.
Oh, I can finally try pesto.
We meant like water skiing.
I've just never had pesto.
Or maybe take the boat somewhere new.
I mean, is pesto spicy or sweet? Oh, guess we'll find out, right?
Right. Bundle home or auto insurance with your boat, RV, or motorcycle and stay protected with Progressive while you explore.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not ready for pesto.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Cecil Lammy here from my friends SodaDietAndNutrition.com. They've got a big summer offer. You can get 4 weeks free. Call 866-800-SODA and mention this station, 104.3 The Fan. 866-800-SODA. Mention this station to get 4 weeks free. Their big summer offer going on right now. It's Soda, Diet, and Nutrition. I want you to call up 866-800-SODA. Listen, 5 years ago I lost 60 pounds with soda, and I'm never going back. Why? Because they taught me how to eat, what to eat, and when to eat. And having those tools is amazing for your weight loss journey because it's about knowing what you need every single day and then having your own nutritionist, a personalized nutritionist with a personalized plan for you, the dynamic diet for you, custom built for you so that you can lose weight and you can keep it off. And that's the main thing. 5 years have gone by and those 60 pounds are not coming back. They'll never come back because I learned how to eat, what to eat, and when to eat, all thanks to Soda. SodaDietNutrition.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Mike Rowe here with a random fact. More than half of the homes that have basements in North America will experience water damage. It's true. Whether it's basement moisture, flooding, or bowing walls, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys. They're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule a free inspection with Groundworks, the foundation and waterproofing experts.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hey, that's not bacon grilling. That's your living room at 2 p.m. If your home heats up every summer, your windows might be the reason. Infinity by Marvin Windows protect your home from UV rays, solar heat, and help lower energy bills all summer long. Colorado homeowners have trusted Gravina's Window Center of Littleton for 50 years. Right now, you can save 25% on Infinity by Marvin Windows. Visit them at windowsforyourhome.com. That's windowsforyourhome.com.
It's the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports, 104.3 The Fan.
Love and happiness. But wait a minute, something's going wrong. Someone's on the phone. 3 o'clock in the morning.
All right. Dan Jacobs Show rolling along. By the way, jump on YouTube. You know what I would like? Could we do this? I'd like for 500 of you to at least just tune in for a few minutes on the Denver Sports YouTube channel right now. You can watch us. By the way, is it on? I'm watching right now. The screen's not on. All right, we'll see.
Oh, no, YouTube's lit right now.
All right, cool. I would love, can we get 500 of you guys to check out the Dan Jacobs Show on YouTube? I'd like to do that. You want to do that, Sean? Because I want to beat the drive from Friday just to say, hey, we got some flex here on the weekend as well. So it's up to you guys. I'm laying down the challenge. Will you respond? 500 of you check out the show today. I would love it. All right, let's do that. So, want to continue this topic on CBS breaking down quarterbacks. And right away, right off the bat, I take issue with the article. The NFL has never had more quarterback talent, but the gap between the league's elite rising stars and stopgap starters remains as fascinating as ever. So what I want to do is, let's see here. Let's just pick a year. Let's say 1989 starting NFL quarterbacks. Let's just see what we come up with as we do that. Okay. I got that list up. Yeah. Okay. So let's compare. All right. Well, it gets a little thin at some points, but so it says the NFL's never had more quarterback talent, but the gap between the league's elite rising stars and stopgap starters remains as fascinating as ever. And then they rank the talent, the talent in the league. It says transcendent talents. And spot number one, their number one quarterback. I don't know if they're really ranking him or if they're just putting them all five in a group, but it has Matthew Stafford, which, he had a nice renaissance last year. And Matt Stafford for me is, boy, I'll just say this. He's sure enjoying a lot of credit at this point in his career. I don't dislike Matthew Stafford, but he's getting, to me at this point, I think he's a little bit overrated. But Patrick Mahomes is on there. It says Mahomes and the Chiefs suffered a 2025 setback, including Mahomes' season ending early due to injury. And while he and the Chiefs surely hope for a bounce back 2026, Mahomes' legacy as one of the league's all-time greats is already secure as a 3-time Super Bowl champion and 2-time league MVP. Nobody's going to quibble with that. Josh Allen, one of the decade's best players so far. The versatile Allen's list of accomplishments includes a 2024 league MVP and becoming the all-time leader in touchdown runs by a quarterback, which is pretty amazing considering he's not that old into his career, right? Like how does he have more rushing touchdowns than Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson? That's pretty crazy. Stuff like that. Lamar Jackson, he's in there. I don't know if I put him on the list. Joe Burrow, they round out the transcendent stars. And then they put tier 2 borderline stars. Jalen Hurts is on the list. Sam Darnold, which, I think we're really, really grasping at straws. Now, if we're putting him, as a borderline star. Caleb Williams, up and coming.
I mean, Dan, are any of those? There's some guys on there that are proven stars, but there's a guy or two in there that's not necessarily star worthy. They've just been proven.
Yeah, they're just throwing. At this point, we're just throwing names, and then they finally get to Bo Nix, who had a pretty nice season, 63% completion percentage, just a hair under 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And again, here's that CBS Sports charm when talking about Bo Nix. While last season was somewhat underwhelming from a production standpoint, Nix was nonetheless on the precipice of stardom until his ankle injury prevented him and the Broncos from reaching the Super Bowl. What did we just say, Sean? We're past that.
Yeah, we got to throw that. We can no longer use that excuse. It's packed up.
Nix leads the pack of promising young quarterbacks that are poised to take over the league at some point down the road. And then they have Jaden Daniels just a smidge below him, Jared Goff. Man, if I'm Jared Goff. Now, these aren't technically, they didn't put numbers on these rankings, but they listed Jared Goff, who, by the way, last year, 68% completion percentage, dang near 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns against only 8 interceptions in a year that his team really struggled as a team. That's pretty darn good numbers. He's been to a Super Bowl. Like, why? If I'm Jared Goff, I'm like, are you really putting Bo Nix either ahead of or even in the same conversation as me? Like, I'd be highly offended.
He should be offended that Caleb Williams, any of those year 1, year 2 guys are even being mentioned before him.
Yeah. Now, I'm looking at this list, and let's see what I came up with for 1989. I may be wrong. I may be open to, I may have some new information. new things have happened.
Come on, Zach.
with the class of 1989. Or not the class, but the starting quarterbacks in 1989. But now that I look at the list in its entirety, you got Brock Purdy on there, not doing much for me. You have Jordan Love, certainly possible, for being a good talent down the road. Doesn't do much for me. But you do have Justin Herbert on the list. Drake May, we'll see what he does. Trevor Lawrence, is definitely intriguing. And then you have promising prospects, which none of them are really all that promising. Well, maybe Cam Ward, outside of that. So I had issue with the, kind of the sub headline, but so I just picked a year off the top on the fly. I said, well, is that true? Because I seem to nostalgia maybe clouding my judgment. So I just picked 1989 and just Googled that real quick. And it was like, well, Joe Montana, certainly amazing. John Elway, certainly amazing. Boomer Esiason, really good quarterback. Troy Aikman, really good quarterback. Randall Cunningham, really good quarterback. And then the list kind of falls off to a bunch of good guys. Now, for whatever reason, that may have been the year. So let's go to 1991, because that may have been the year that Dan Marino ruptured his Achilles, because he was noticeably absent from the list. But I gotta be honest with you, all of the guys that I mentioned might replace every single quarterback on the current list. So let's say, I don't know, let's be fair, 1992 starting NFL quarterbacks was because I did I even read Jim Kelly on there?
See, I don't know. A lot of those names, sir, don't really add up to the guys of today. I'm going to be honest with you. The guys of today just move a little bit more crisp, more fast. They throw for more yards. I mean, now maybe they're not the traditional quarterback, and I'm speaking more on Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, but like Joe Burrow or Jim Kelly, we're going to take Joe Burrow. Leaders of the new school, man.
Well, you're are you kidding me?
I'm serious.
Are you
right
kidding
now.
me?
Man, I'm doing that.
Man, I don't believe you. I can't believe we're having this conversation. You're just destroying your credibility again. Jim Kelly went to 4 Super Bowls. I love Joe Burrow. He's like one of the few, I think, elite quarterbacks in the league right now. But is he just better than Troy Aikman or John Elway or Joe Montana or Steve Young or Dan Marino or Warren Moon? These are all the guys we're talking about from that era. And they're all together at the same time. So I don't want to hear about, well, Justin Herbert and Jordan Love and Cam Ward. Yeah, this is just the list of Dan Marino, Steve Young, Jim Kelly, Troy Aikman, Brett Favre. This is all from 1 year. Vinny Testaverde, Randall Cunningham, Warren Moon, Neil O'Donnell, John Elway, Jeff George, Boomer Esiason, Jeff Hostetler.
And the league was full of good guys at the time. Damn.
Phil Simms. Here's an old one you'll love. Todd Marinovich.
I heard of him.
I mean, these are all guys. This is what Tommy Maddox, Bubby Brister. This is all just from one season, 1992. And you compare those guys that were legit, really good quarterbacks that would win you games in the league. And then we're tossing in, Trevor Lawrence.
No, maybe. I never mentioned Sunshine.
No, but I'm just talking about the list I was reading today. Like, I don't even think it's really. I go back to my original position that I don't think it's true. This nonsense about there's never been more talent. I just read off more talent, and I just picked a season out of thin air. And by the way, you're Jim Kelly, better than takes a backseat. He went to 4 Super Bowls.
Burrow went to a Super Bowl and
went
lost
to Super Bowl.
Well, they both went to Super Bowls.
Which is
and
more,
lost.
4 or 1?
I would say 4 because the guy went to 4. He got there 4 times and couldn't win 1. Well, that's unethical.
That's why he's not in the conversation of top 5 of all time.
Yeah, right? I feel bad for Jim Kelly.
Yeah, I feel bad for Jim Kelly too, former Miami Hurricane great, right? But, I mean, am I going to take him over Justin Herbert? Yes. Or Trevor Lawrence? Yeah. Like almost all these guys. Jalen Hurts. Nah, man, I think we have a little recency bias on this. We'll keep that conversation going. Also wanted to just dip the toe into looking at, did you like the Sean Payton, they're doing a really, really deep dive into last year with Sean Payton And I'm going to tell you, there was something in there that I liked more than anything else. And you know what it was? I'll tell you next.
The conversation around the Nuggets restricted free agent is heating up. But is there a real question that needs to be asked before a deal is signed?
I need more proof from Payton Watson. Honestly, I'm terrified to give this guy a $100 million contract. Terrified for the Denver Nuggets and me as a fan to watch him do what Christian has done. Then with Payton Watson, I go, all right, so what do I have, a 40-game sample size and I'm supposed to give you $100 million? Yeah, I'm worried about that.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Switching your account numbers is hard. Being forced to switch, even worse. That's why at Belco Credit Union, we want to pay you to switch. From June 1st to August 31st, we're offering a $300 bonus when you open a new checking account with a qualifying direct deposit of $500 or more. They changed your account number. You can change who you bank with. Go to belco.org/switch for full offer details. Insured by NCUA. Membership eligibility required. Conditions and restrictions apply. Belco. Banking for everyone.
The hot weather is here. Stoke here from my team, ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Has another company told you that you need a new air conditioner? Time to throw in the challenge flag. Rocks Heating and Air offers no obligation, free second opinions. They have amazing financing options and incredible rebates too, only from the best. ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Performance matters in intimate moments. Don't let ED ruin them. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and I want to assure you that if you're like the vast majority of guys, you don't have to suffer with ED anymore. In fact, you might be pleasantly surprised at how the right treatments could positively impact your love life. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, our advanced medical therapies go far beyond pills. We have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, and we offer specific and combinative treatments that can dramatically enhance both your performance and your stamina. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a far greater level of intimacy to both you and the one you love, perhaps performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and find out why our advanced treatment strategies offer so much more. Your first visit is just $99 and gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, advanced medical science to improve men's lives.
I'm excited about it. You know, these cutting-edge things that are new in medicine now, I'm all in on it. I'm all in on QC Kinetics. It works.
Henry Hinton decided to check out QC Kinetics regenerative treatments for his aching knees after seeing a close friend have amazing results without going under the knife.
I have a friend that started this, which is one of the reasons that I decided to do it. He could not play golf anymore, and he went to QC Kinetics and started having the treatments, and he's back golfing like 3 days a week. He couldn't play at all.
QC Kinetics gets you back to doing what you love, using your own natural biologics to help heal and restore damaged joints. Long-term relief that puts a guy back on the golf course.
You know, I've had one treatment so far, and I can already tell a difference. QC Kinetics works. I'm excited about it.
You're next. Start with a call to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986. 303-900-8986.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs.
All right, hour number 2 of Dan Jacobs Show. Check us out here on 104.3 FM. Also, I want to see, man, can you guys tune into us? I want to kind of blow up our numbers a little bit just to let station management know we have a little swagger here on the Dan Jacobs Show. I'd like to get to 500 of you tuning into the show on YouTube today, if possible.
Honestly, Dan, that's a lot of people in the live chat, man. 500, like.
Yeah. Now, it was a little light yesterday. It was like under 200, which I was a little disappointed. So, 500 of it. And you can do it actually any time today. If you're like somebody's like, hey, man, I'm driving around, so I'm checking you out on my car radio. But, the numbers count all the way up till tomorrow. So, if you want to check us out after the show, you want to rewatch the show, you want to say, hey, I only got to listen to 20 minutes in my car, do that. All right. Now, I do want to do this on the RamosLaw.com text line. Pay off the tease a little bit from, we started the show with a little summer vibe, feeling good. What are some of our favorite summer movies, which some of these led me to forget about, some brought memories to the forefront, like It. Remember, it was technically a mini series, right? But that was a summer-based, the kids running around in the summer fighting off a, horrifying clown, but that's one of the great ones. What about Bob on the text line? That's sneaky good. That's another one of those like Kingpin types where
Bob's a good movie.
Yeah. What about Bob? Doesn't get mentioned all that much. Fantastic. Somebody says, American Graffiti, best summer movie ever made. I'll take your word for it. Never saw that, but I've heard it's fantastic. Dazed and Confused. If you're into that thing, I'm sure it's great. One Crazy Summer I never saw. I got one guy or gal that responded to my Cloak and Dagger. Says, I love Cloak and Dagger. Took place on the San Antonio Riverwalk. Riley and Aurora sent that in. Thank you, Riley. Thanks for having my back. Nobody else liked Cloak and Dagger? I'm going to watch that again. I want to watch it with my 8-year-old.
I've never heard of it, sir.
Yeah.
I mean.
Oh, it was great. It was good. I mean, it was a little, because I think you're what, 6, 7, 8 years younger than me. It was, it was probably before your time.
It's like Fern Gully. You know what I mean? Like, I know of it, but I never watched it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure I watched Fern Gully. It's not one of my greatest. Dan, with respect, Abraham Lincoln famously stated, don't believe everything you read on the internet. That's from Mike.
Mike, there was no internet when Abraham Lincoln was speaking. Go ahead.
I know. That's why it's so funny. Somebody else says, I'm driving, so I can't get you on YouTube, but I'm listening to you right here on the radio. I appreciate that. Check us out on YouTube later, man. That's good. Numbers still count. I hate to go there, but in saying today's QBs aren't tough, but in 1989, dudes could kill quarterbacks. Yeah, it's never been easier than right now to play quarterbacks in the league.
See, we wasn't saying they were tough. It was who's more dynamic.
No, it said more talent.
Okay. Outside of John Elway, the rest of those guys, those were good names, but they didn't have the type of talent that the guys today have. Go?
Yeah. That's why I just disagree. Like, if you could pluck all 15 or 20 of the top 20 starting quarterbacks in the league in that era, and if they were allowed to play in this era, they'd probably carve everybody up. I mean, let's just be honest with it. So I did this during the break, Sean. I said, well, okay, maybe I'm partial to the 80s and 90s quarterbacks, right? And so let's just pick another year. So off the top of my head, I said, well, let me go look. What were they? Let's check out what they were doing.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s. So I just said 2007. Let's take a look. We're talking Tom Brady.
Matt Stafford.
Drew Brees. Tony Romo. Brett Favre. Carson Palmer. Peyton Manning. I don't know, Matt Hasselbeck, which is, yeah.
Matt Hasselbeck was good. He won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Or went to a Super Bowl.
He went to a Super Bowl. He lost to a young Ben Roethlisberger, who's on the list. Jay Cutler, Kurt Warner, Eli Manning, Donovan McNabb, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers.
Dude, that's an amazing list right there in its own right.
Yeah.
It's a good list. But even those guys were not as athletic. And they didn't move the needle the way the guys today do. I mean, it's like watching, it's like all those guys kind of, to me, their film today looks like Bill Walton and Bill Russell film. It looks all the same, black and white.
And by the way, there's a bunch of other guys in here, but guys that are down on the list, just because I pulled up the list and it was like, guys, if they're hurt or whatever, they're way down. Dante Culpepper.
He was good.
Steve McNair.
Let me ask you, who was the Broncos quarterback in that class right there?
Yeah, let's look real quick. Broncos quarterback. Oh, Cutler. Jay Cutler. So these are all guys that really these guys you're talking about. Is Sam Darnold really carrying these guys' jocks?
No, none of those guys even touch Mike Vick. Shout out to the texter that sent in Mike Vick, because that's.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like Matt Stafford. He had a good year last year. All right, boy, he's number one on the list right now. Does he even hold a candle to Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Brett Favre, Kurt Warner, Eli Manning, Donovan McNabb? I don't know if he's in the top 10.
I think he fits in with that class.
Okay, so he may have an argument. Not with Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, probably not with Drew Brees or Brett Favre at all, but, he gets into the by the way, Kurt Warner's best years versus Matt Stafford's best years? Sorry, dog, I'm taking Kurt Warner, like Rams. Kurt Warner, or when Kurt Warner took the stinking Cardinals to the Super Bowl? Nah, man. Like with Matt Stafford, he had a nice run when he had Megatron.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Okay, Matt Stafford had Calvin Johnson and Nate Burleson for the majority of his tenure in Detroit. Now, when you talk about Kurt Warner, this dude, two offenses that were prolific every time he played in a meaningful game. You had Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and Ricky Proehl in one offense. Then you go to Arizona, he has Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden, my two favorite receivers of all time. Well, besides Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens. So, I mean, Kurt Warner, he never had to make, lemonade out of lemons.
Are you kidding me?
Not like
First off,
not
all
like
those
Josh
guys
Allen.
you listed. Hold on, I'm time out here. You're going to get my blood boiling, Sean.
Let's go.
Come on, man. Isaac Bruce and Ricky Proehl, and you're like, oh, yeah, all-time greats.
Torrey Holt? Come on, baby.
Torrey Holt? Those are Jags.
Those
are
dudes
guys.
are in the Hall of Fame, man. Holt and Isaac Bruce are in the Hall of Fame. Go.
They are? I think you read some bad AI. I don't think they're in the Hall of Fame. Now, you want to say Marshall Faulk, because he was on those teams. Great. But the greatest show on turf came out of nowhere. Let me tell you something. Kurt Warner made Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce, not the other way around, man.
And then Kurt Warner had Edgerrin James and Marshall Faulk.
Yeah,
he's had perennial running backs in both places he played.
Yeah, I'll throw those guys. So
he's not like Josh
talent.
Allen. He's not like Lamar Jackson. Those guys make lemonade out of lemons, man.
No, like Kurt Warner, he just came out of nowhere. All-time great story. Right? Like 14-2, 4,800 yards and 36 touchdowns. 13-3, 4,300 yards and 41 touchdowns. Like, those are ridiculous numbers, man. 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns later for the crappy old Cardinals. Get that, man. He's an all-time great. All-time great.
I love Kurt Warner's story. I love everything about his journey. He's been a stellar performer since the day he stepped on the NFL field.
Yeah. Now, just saying. I don't think Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence are carrying those guys as water. Not yet. Hopefully they will.
You got to stop throwing Trevor Lawrence in these conversations. He hasn't been fired since he entered the league. Like, he hasn't been a top 10 or even a top 5 guy since he's been in the league. He's almost getting ready to get eclipsed by guys like Cam Ward and maybe even C.J. Stroud.
He beat Joe Lewis's ass. Right, that's all I can say. He beat the Broncos' ass. He beat Bo Nix's ass.
And you will be right in saying that, because Jacksonville came up here and gave Denver everything that they could handle and more. Did the Jags lose that game?
Last year?
Yeah.
No, the Jags didn't. They came in and put it on Bo Nix and the Broncos. In fact, I think they came in here and put it on him.
That's what I was thinking. But I thought there was so many improbable comebacks by the Denver Broncos last year that they're starting to blend together. And now
that was not one of them, to my recollection.
Hey,
I could be wrong, but I think it was not one of them.
At this point, Dan, like, again, we almost had to get rid of the recency bias when it comes to the Denver Broncos, when it comes to their quarterback situation. It all has to start over fresh with Bo Nix. Everything is brand new. So we're looking at
where does Bo Nix fit against those dudes?
Well, Bo Nix fits in right now. He's in a conversation of maybe top 10 to top 15, and that's being nice. If you try to put him any higher than, let's say 11 or 12 where he was drafted at in today's current starting quarterbacks, I mean, you could say, well, he won a bunch of games and he won more games than Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. The legit facts are guys like Minnesota's, quarterback situation. Those are the reasons that Bo Nix gets elevated, because there's some teams in there that are gray areas, and I think that Trevor Lawrence is definitely in that gray area with Bo Nix.
Did they say Pad Stafford?
Dude, I mean, he throws the ball all over the place because he's had, great weapons in L.A. He had OBJ at one point in time. He's got Puka. He's got Devontae Adams. He's supposed to pad stats.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and that was my thing. He won a Super Bowl, dang near, but that was one of the all-time great. They just went all in. Stan Kroenke said, all right, do what you got to do. And it was an all-star team. They had Jalen Ramsey, was it Aaron Gordon? Heck, Von Miller was like a fill-in. They're like, just put them all in, man. Put them all in the salad, right? And so, yeah, Matt Stafford was a, quote, part of that. My recollection was they had some pretty good receivers. They had some stuff going on. Did they? Who was their running back the year they won?
Oh,
right?
Man, dude.
But that team was loaded.
They didn't even matter.
They found their way to get under the cap with that team. It was a bunch of all-stars, and they just added, because remember, they got there before with Jared Goff, and they just didn't like him, so they said, Matt Stafford can put us over the top. And he did. Barely. Like with no offensive line, Joe Burrow was in serious danger of beating that all-star Rams team. Like, look at Matt Stafford's Super Bowl and tell me he's John Elway or Brett Favre.
No, he managed his way to a win.
Yeah.
That was it. It was a game management.
Like they got all they wanted from a really beat up, happy to be there, no offensive line, Joe Burrow-led team, man. Like, that game went deep into the second half. Almost didn't happen there. So another thing I wanted to kind of just take a peek at is, did you see this article? Sean Boyd, ESPN doing a deep dive into him. Sean Payton. I said Sean Boyd.
Hey, I was like, man, wait a minute. ESPN, they're talking about me
featuring
again?
You're bowling.
I'm back.
Man, they're talking about you in your bowling career, like the hot name to watch.
That's right. I'm an upcoming prospect
on the bowling circuit.
As a matter of fact, I won some money, by the way, in a ABT tournament out here just 4th of July weekend. I placed and won a couple of dollars.
Hey, man, congratulations. Good job. I like it. I like hearing it, keeping us up to speed on the bowling career. But the Sean Payton article was interesting. It had some nuggets in there, right? Like the way he talks to his coaches versus the way he talks to his players, and he drinks too many Diet Cokes. And I'm really shocked to have heard this. He showed up to a coaches meeting late. Got lost on his schedule. Showed up to a 9 a.m. meeting late. I'm like, that's shocking to me that in this day and age, NFL coaches would ever be late to meetings.
It's his meeting, not a meeting. It's his meeting because he's the guy.
Yeah. So
that's unethical.
So I was shocked about that. But you know what I actually liked in the whole article? And there's a lot of good stuff in there, right? But what I really liked was it was just kind of buried at the end after the loss, the just gut-wrenching loss to the Patriots at home in the AFC Championship game. There are a couple nuggets. One, I think he was talking to Payton, and he's like, hey, man, first off, the hug. That's the thing. They hugged, which tells me something. Tells me those guys have a good relationship. Because, Sean Payton fancies himself a tough guy, man's man or whatever. That tells me that they're on the same page. They enjoy working together. George Payton doesn't have his feelings hurt that he got demoted. All good stuff. Good things. And to be able to, I'm sure it is not easy to work for and with Sean Payton. It just can't be. That type of narcissism and ego, it's not easy. So that is very, very encouraging for Broncos fans to know that George Payton have that type of relationship. That's all good stuff. And then also he said, we should have kicked the field goal.
But now let me ask you this. Do you think when they have that type of relationship, do you think like they spend a good time like as stepbrothers? Like, they go on behind closed doors and say, hey, look, where do we see the direction of the team going this year? How do we get better? And then, do you think any of the moves that they made dictate them working as a cohesive unit more or less than one guy running the ship?
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good partnership. And I've given George Payton a hard time because, man, when he was in charge, one of the worst GMs. He's got to be one of the worst GMs in league history. I mean, let's just be honest about it. Might be one of the worst GMs in league history. And that's aside. That's not really even, a lot of people want to give him, like, they want to, in hindsight, pretend he was some great draft guru. Dude hit on, like, man, I think he hit on 5 picks and missed on 14 of them. Like, man, come on, man. Like, that's not that's
an upside down ratio.
He had a couple nuggets, but I guarantee you I'd have, Sean, you probably would too. We'd all hit on a couple out of 19 tries, right? That's not to take away from the ones he hit, because Jonathan Cooper, phenomenal pick.
Well, I think where he went wrong out the gate was bringing over guys from Minnesota, right? Obviously it's a relationship league. If you played for somebody or you were brought in over here in Arizona, then obviously when that person linked to that person goes to, a certain destination, now we can make business with that guy. Like the running back Ham, that guy.
Yeah, the running back, I don't think his name was Ham, but I was thinking the same thing. And that was funny because he didn't know any better, but that was almost like a dirty little trick on the Denver media, because what he didn't know is that the Denver Broncos sports media at that time, they all shared one collective brain, right? It was like the Wizard of Oz, that thing on the wall. Like none of them had any ability to independently think. So they signed, oh God, what was that guy's name, man? But yeah, you're right. He came in from Minnesota.
Yeah, it was Ham, bro. I'm telling you.
It wasn't Ham. It was
hey, Dan, you don't want to bet a cup of coffee on that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Google the roster. Google what year was that? I don't know, 2021 Broncos or whatever it was. But but we're fighting over the something we agree on. They brought in this dude. He was he's a career special teamer. And it was just basically George Payton saying, I like this guy. He makes our roster better. He's not a superstar. He's not really going to shoulder the load on running the ball, but he's going to play great on special teams. He's going to be great in the locker room. He's a nice piece to add as we try and rebuild this organization.
He brought Teddy Bridgewater over too.
He brought Bridgewater? Okay.
Teddy B.
Yeah. But yeah, so this quarterback comes in, and I'm like, I've never even heard of this dude. What are we talking about? And then I go look up his stats and his role in Minnesota. I'm like, what are all these suck-ups in the media talking about? So immediately, George Payton, like, he doesn't know any better. So he just brings over a guy and signs him. And this wasn't even one of those, I don't think, situations where the media got burned by just sucking up being a PR arm running with the narrative for the Broncos. I don't even think the Broncos advanced the narrative, but all of a sudden they're advancing this narrative. The Denver Broncos media, the actual members of the media, they're like, oh yeah, this guy, man, watch this guy. He's gonna. They're talking about him getting like meaningful carries and being like a real running back, and it was never intended to be that, right? So that was a little dirty trick he played on the media, and the media couldn't even take their L on that. Like they kept that up for like 2 or 3 years.
I mean, we're doing the same thing right now with the tight end.
Yeah, tight ends,
Mr. Ingram. Right?
Yeah,
we're having a hard time finding the guy.
Yeah, well, also like Tyler Bidet and Jaleel McLaughlin. I think the media's finally soured, but for years they were like, well, if Jaleel could get his touches, he could. No, he's just lucky to be on a roster. Nice guy, great story. He's had his chances. He offers almost nothing other than he fills a roster spot.
Mike Boone.
That's it right there. See? Yeah. Mike Boone all of a sudden was going to be our savior at running back for the Broncos, because I don't know why the media thought that. If they'd done even a smidge of research, or if they weren't just drunk off Broncos Kool-Aid, they would have known better. They absolutely would have known better. but they didn't. And so that went on for 2-3 years. I'm like, good God. It's like, the same thing. It was not as bad, but it's like what we heard about Jerry Jeudy every year. They would get burned. Right now, what we're experiencing with Evan Ingram, we're hearing about that, which is funny because we talked about it on the show last weekend, Sean. I'm talking about, because we have the joke, right? Like, if you want to know what they'll be talking about on the morning show or the afternoon, the other shows tomorrow, just listen to the Dan Jacobs Show today.
That's right. And
what were we talking about? I was talking about the level of disrespect that was being heaped upon R.J. Harvey. They act like this guy's a chump, like he's a bum. Even when the morning show, I think, was talking about it, they were trying to rehabilitate his image, and they were like Evans was the one, right? He was saying, yeah, I think he just had a down year, and he's going to get the second year bump and all that. Like, he didn't have that bad a year. He didn't have a great year. But, as far as yards per carry, but as far as being a productive member of the offense, he was the most productive member of the offense. Nobody wants to admit that. He had 1,200 total yards and 12 touchdowns, something like that. 1,100 some total yards, something like that. Like it was more productive than Cortland Sutton, more productive than Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, J.K. Dobbins, all of them.
They threw him away already for Jonah Coleman,
So that's what I heard. So a week ago, I'm like, what is going on? Why are we, disrespecting R.J. Harvey so much? Well, there you go. Now, if you listen to the station this week, there's a promo running. You know what the promo is, Harvey? Is he being overlooked? Gee, I wonder. So, yeah, that was funny. All right, so we're going to take a quick time out here. If you have thoughts on that Sean Payton article, we'll deep dive into that article as well. But coming up next, Sean, you had a thought about the Broncos defense and some of the matchups they're going to be getting with the young pups. We'll get into that next.
The Colorado Rockies just landed 10 players on ESPN's top 100 trade candidates, tied for the most in baseball. And suddenly the deadline might run straight through Denver. From Mickey Moniak's hot bat to Antonio Senzatella's breakout as a shutdown reliever, contenders are circling, and the new DePodesta-led front office faces its first real test. Will the Rockies cash in their chips and accelerate the rebuild, or play it safe? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Jacobs Law, 303 Law 4040, 303 Law 4040. You know me, I give what I call the made-for-TV lawyers a hard time. And that's because we've heard so many people that are so frustrated. They see these guys on TV for years, and they kind of just think they know them. And the truth is, you're never going to talk to those guys. Oftentimes, you'll call in. Some of these guys, they have call centers overseas that you're going to get. You're going to get AI now is going to be answering. If you're lucky, you'll get a live person that's here, and some of them have 3 minutes to either decide whether they think your case is worth taking or not. Just all sorts of stuff, and you never hear back, and this and that. Jacobs Law, we give you all of our cell phone numbers. You'll get my cell phone number. You'll get my lovely wife Kimberly's cell phone number. You get another lawyer's cell phone number. You get your case manager's cell phone number. You want to know if it's true or not? Yesterday, before the show, we signed up a client a couple days ago. She called me. I was over at 7-Eleven getting coffee, and I picked up the phone, answered her question, and she went about her day. Try that with you-know-who. It's just not going to happen. You meet with us in person. We come up with a plan to get you feeling better and compensated for what the other drivers put you through. It's Jacobs Law. Save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This summer, the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich and Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite are back at Chick-fil-A.
Girl, it's back. We've been waiting. I love that honey pepper pimento sandwich.
And that pineapple dragon fruit and Sprite is everything. It's got that razzle-dazzle that makes you stop and say, okay, wait a minute.
I love the creaminess of the pimento cheese. It's savory, it's bold, it's flavorful.
Our faves are back. High five, girl.
Which fan favorite will you choose? Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Spine One. Let me ask you a question. You live with back pain, neck pain? Well, my guys at Spine One, they're an emergency room for back pain with same-day appointments. They'll see you and they'll get the journey started. And that's exactly what I did. Whether it's chronic pain, acute pain, work-related, sports-related, doesn't matter. All you got to do is pick up the phone and start your journey just like I did toward pain-free. 303-367-2225. That's 303-367-BACK. Or as always, you can find them online at spineone.com.
Hi, Dan Cicchini, Done Right Home Improvements. For an 8% scheduling incentive and a special financing rate of 0% APR with 72 equal monthly payments, go to drhi.com. Kitchens, baths, counters, and floors. Finished basements, windows, and doors. You have our word, we'll treat you right at Done Right.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Cudarelli Vision. Here's my story. I wore glasses growing up for a long time, and then when I hit my 30s playing for the Broncos, I ended up having LASIK surgery, but when I hit my mid-50s, I needed those readers for everything I did, whether it was going to restaurants, trying to read menus, whether it was reading statistics, studying film. I needed those reading glasses. Well, I decided to go see Dr. Cudarelli at Cudarelli Vision for a refractive lens exchange, and I can tell you firsthand, total game changer. And you can join Dr. Cudarelli for his live webinar this Wednesday at noon. Learn more about refractive lens exchange from Cudarelli Vision. This free webinar is the perfect opportunity to meet Dr. Cudarelli and have him answer all your questions like, is RLE for me? Am I a good candidate? What's the recovery time? What's the cost? Is there financing? Cudarelli is Colorado's most experienced with over 90,000 vision correction procedures, and he can tell you when it's time for you. Make sure you join that live webinar this Wednesday at noon. Register at coloradorle.com. That's coloradorle.com.
If you've been injured in an auto accident, Dr. Joseph Ramos is both a doctor and a lawyer, combining legal and medical expertise. He can help. Ramos Law, the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. RamosLaw.com.
You're listening to the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
Oh, man, we have some breaking news on the RamosLaw.com text line. Why did I wait so long to check you handsome devils out on YouTube? Good show. Mike from the mean streets of Aurora. I like that. Of course, you're carrying most of the handsome load there. The thing that I like is people check me out, and I'm just not as ugly as they thought. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not... You know, the most common thing I get is, because I'm doing the acting thing now, and people like, well, wait a minute, you're going to be an actor? Because they're like, they think everybody has to be Brad Pitt.
Has anybody ever told you that you have a face for radio?
All the time.
Okay.
I say that.
Okay.
But I think I'm not a bad-looking guy. I'm just not Brad Pitt. I'm not George Clooney or anything like that. But most of the actors on the screen are either character actors or there's something unique, and I don't look like every guy going down the road. And I bring something different to the table. So what I get most is, well, you don't look anything like I thought. And so apparently, even though I have this smooth, these dulcet tones, I don't look like my voice, and maybe they think I'm ugly just because it's such a deep voice. I don't know. But so people are generally, and I'm looking at you out there on YouTube, people are genuinely surprised when they see us on YouTube. So yeah, keep it up. We'd love to get 500 views today. Can we do that? You can check us out anytime during the day. Just go to the Denver Sports 104.3 YouTube channel. But man, I would love to get 500 people check out the Dan Jacobs Show on YouTube. Let's just check in on a couple more. By the way, you can get into the Champ Honda YouTube chat that way as well. What I like about the Champ Honda YouTube chat is you guys can mix it up with each other as listeners. Like, you can see what each other's typing, and then you can say, what? And you can kind of go after each other. So that's kind of a fun way to be involved in the show. All right. Sean, you had an interesting comment. We were doing a little show prep before the show. You had not comment, but thought on how the defense will have an opportunity to match up with some rookies this year and how that might go. So, Mr. Boyd, the floor is yours. Lay these thoughts on us, sir.
So, Dan, when we look at Coach Vance Joseph's defense over the last few years, he's obviously shown that there are wrinkles to the defense that they add in week to week, depending on which quarterback they're playing and whatnot. And when we watched the Denver Broncos defense last year, I go back to a performance that was pretty much stifling. They stifled the Dallas Cowboys. They had Dak Prescott looking like a year one quarterback, like a deer in headlights. And so I'm wondering, Fernando Mendoza is the newest, shiniest quarterback to be delivered to the AFC West, in which the Denver Broncos have to play twice this season. So then my question to you is, Dan, how do you feel Coach Joseph's defense will stack up in the matchup versus a Fernando Mendoza, and they also do play those stinky Cardinals that you like to take a crap on every so often. So they have that new running back from Notre Dame and Jeremiah Love that I'm sure the Broncos would have loved to have had in orange and blue.
Oh, but also don't sleep on Miami Hurricanes great Carson Beck could be their starting quarterback.
He could be the starting quarterback for Arizona. So let me ask you, which one of those quarterbacks scares you more versus Vance Joseph's defense? Is it Carson Beck with the Cardinals, or is it Fernando Mendoza when he does get underneath the center for the Las Vegas Raiders?
I would welcome either one of those. Like 0 ounce of fear at all.
Both those guys are food to you?
Yeah. No, by the way, man, they were one. Carson Beck was 3 inches away from a national title and a great story and becoming an all-time Miami Hurricane great.
He had a bad read, though. He read the field real bad, and that was a problem for me. He lost me a lot of money that night.
And that's what he does, though. Like he has all the talent in the world, and then he throws just really bad. There are guys that are like that. Drew Lock is like that, right? Guys that just have talent, and they can make plays that make you go, wow. It's like I was talking about with Cello before the show. Is like, what was your favorite all-time sports moment? It was when Brock Berlin led his team from being down 4 or 5 touchdowns, 4 or 5 scores against his former school, the Florida Gators, because he could sling it, and he got to the he got to the league too. But there are a lot of guys that you just can't coach them out of turnovers. They're just going to throw. They're at the key time, and Carson Beck's one of them. Lodo Chad was telling me one time the stat on Carson Beck was something along the lines of he only lost 5 or 6 games in his entire career at Georgia and Miami as a starter. Pretty darn good. But 4 or 5 of them were on him throwing game-ending interceptions.
And the beauty of it is, Dan, we got to see those 2 quarterbacks go head-to-head in this college football playoff, too.
Right.
So
now,
we have a lot of sample sizes to go from.
Right. Now, I'm a big Hurricanes fan, so I watched the game very closely. I never really was buying into the Mendoza hype. Everybody else just made it sound like he was the next Joe Burrow or something like that.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Man, Miami handled him. Like he won the game because he broke free on basically one play. Everybody thought he was just going to carve up Miami. And Miami they had the game won. They had the game won. And so it wasn't I want to give him credit. He's a nice young man. I don't think he has any business playing in the NFL. I think he'll be
like his LinkedIn profile is, if you've ever seen it, like it looks like he should be a CEO of a company of some sort. It doesn't look like a football player for sure.
I have a hard time believing that he's going to do much in the NFL, and likewise with Carson Beck. Those guys will be lucky after the initial hype wears off. They'll be lucky to have Drew Lock type careers where they just ride the gravy train as a backup.
But then that means that a guy that means the Raiders organization gets set back another 5 years, Dan.
Well, that's what I call
you kidding me?
I call them franchise killers. That's what I call guys like that, right? Because you take them so high. I remember, man, and I love me some Cecil. Cecil and I are covering the draft together in this very studio a few years back, and he's just so excited about Justin Fields and this and that. And I'm like, No, that dude's a franchise killer. And Cecil almost blew up all over the studio. It was crazy. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like his blood pressure was going through the roof. And he's like, what tape did you watch? Trying with his,
Oh, yeah, your credibility was in question right then.
And I said, actually, I did watch the tape. Not that I watched nearly as much tape as Cecil does, but I looked at it, and I went back and looked at his senior year. He played in 8 games because of COVID. 2 of them, and by the way, he was the man going into his final year. It was just go to cruise control, play well, you're the number 1 pick in the draft. No problem. And you only have to play 8 games, and it was all weird because of COVID, and he was at Ohio State with nothing but talent, and he blew 3 of those games. And 2 of them were against nobodies, and he just didn't play well. And I looked at the way he threw the football, and I'm like, that guy, no, he's all hype. I called him, and it's nothing personal against him. Those types of guys are what I call franchise killers because they set your franchise back 3 to 5 years. Your coach and your GM usually get fired somewhere along the way, and then you got to start over and go with something new. And it's exactly what you just said. If Mendoza doesn't work out for the Raiders, which he's not going to, they're not going to admit that in year 1. Heck, we missed on Josh Allen because we had Paxton Lynch.
You just messed my whole morning up, man.
I'm sorry. Your Raiders are not going anywhere next year. I'm sorry. But that's the way it's going to go. So I'm not afraid of Mendoza. And Carson Beck is just one of those guys, like I said, talented, can throw the football, can make big plays to turn your head. But at the end of the day, you can't consistently rely on him to get the job done. He's going to make that crucial mistake. All types of quarterbacks throughout the league that are like that. A large part, Jeff George was like that. All that talent, he would turn the ball over. Drew Lock in camp as a rookie looked 100% like the real deal. And he had flashes where he looked like the real deal. It just turns out he's not getting any better. He is just what he is. He's just going to not be consistent enough. He's going to turn the ball over. And there's a lot of quarterbacks like that. And Carson Beck's one of them. So, hey, man, bring them on. Bring those guys on.
I mean, the thing is they got some uphill training camp battles to go through. One in Arizona with Jacoby Brissett, old dog coming back. So Carson Beck, he almost became the starter by default. And then with Mendoza in Las Vegas, like I told you before the show, he's not going to see the field until Kirk Cousins falls off. So,
well, how long do you think that's going to take?
I'm going the whole year with Kirk Cousins, man.
Oh, come on, man. Come on now. Let's be real. The next full season that Kirk Cousins gets through will be the first one in a long time, I think. Either he gets benched because he's horrible or he gets hurt or whatever. Nah, man.
That's my quarterback.
If you're – see, it's well, we got to take a little time out here, but that's the age-old question. If you're going to stink – and the Raiders are going to stink, why do you – that's what happened in Atlanta. They're like, well, just throw Penix in. What who cares? We don't care that we're paying Kirk Cousins crazy money. Let's get a look at the rookie. And I'm sure at some point, probably, I don't know. It could be as soon as 3 or 4 games in because the fans are going to be demanding Mendoza. Now, you may ruin him, Mendoza, by bringing him in.
The fans aren't asking for him. Not yet.
They will.
They say
will.
Let him cook.
You get a little Kirk Cousins action, you'll be asking for him real soon. All right, coming up next, it's America's fastest growing sports talk radio segment. It's Holding Court with Judge Jacobs.
With the Broncos bringing back J.K. Dobbins and drafting Jonah Coleman, is there an important piece that fans could be sleeping on?
It just seems like RJ Harvey's been the forgotten man in all this. There were things he did last year that maybe didn't blow you away. He was a rookie. I'm one that refuses to bury a guy until I see how he comes back for that second year. Because for a lot of these rookies, that rookie season is just one big whirlwind.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
DeerTrailMeatCo.com. DeerTrailMeatCo.com. You love your family. You love your pups. You can treat them both to some really high-quality stuff when you just go to DeerTrailMeatCo.com. Why do I bring up the dogs? Well, because Travis Valine, owner of DeerTrailMeatCo.com, is saying, hey, Dan, this is a cool story. So we had a Dan Jacobs Show listener. He bought an entire cow. He bought the whole beef. And he kind of divvied it up between the family and all that stuff, right? Well, they threw in some dog treats. They have like liver treats and some of these other safe bone things or whatever. And the guy calls him up a couple weeks later. He says, hey, man, absolutely love the steaks and the ground beef. Everything's fantastic. But we're set on that for a while. What we're not set on is those treats that you gave us. Our dog went nuts. Is there any way we can get some more of those? And Travis delivering them this week to Castle Rock, free of charge. That's how you take care of your customers. He'll take care of you. Him and his wife, Deb Valine, will take care of you. They're going to deliver these tasty products to your front door with a money-back guarantee at a tremendous savings over what you see at the grocery stores. So it's a money-back guarantee. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain. Check them out, deertrailmeatco.com.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
The hot weather is here. Stoke here from my team, ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Has another company told you that you need a new air conditioner? Time to throw in the challenge flag. Rocks Heating and Air offers no obligation, free second opinions. They have amazing financing options and incredible rebates too, only from the best. ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Amy Cox did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. And with that money, she decided to treat herself to an anti-aging red light mask. Will she look like a horror movie villain every night? Yes. Will her boyfriend Kevin be scarred for life? That's certainly a risk. But it's Amy's savings, and if she's willing to risk her relationship for smooth, wrinkle-free skin, well, bye-bye, Kevin. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
When you see this in your kitchen,
the stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
You hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves, or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
For 90 years, Belco Credit Union has proudly called Colorado home. That's thanks to all our members who have helped us grow alongside our beautiful state. To celebrate our anniversary, Belco is offering a special low fixed rate on a new home equity choice line advance. If you've been waiting to start a new home renovation project, now's the perfect time. Go to belco.org/90 years to see full offer details. Equal housing opportunity lender. Membership eligibility required. All loans subject to approval. Belco, banking for everyone.
It's the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports, 104.3 The Fan.
Oh, how pleasant. It's a nice, smooth groove. Very nice, Sean Boyd. Now, the hottest new talk show in Denver Sports Radio. On the hottest new talk show in Denver Sports Radio, 8 years running, it's Holding Court with Judge Jacobs, our segment every 11:45 here on Sundays in the Mile High City. It's where my trusty bailiff, Sean Boyd, runs the docket, presents the cases before me, and I issue a verdict. What's case number one?
For case number one, now, Judge, all rise, because court is officially back in session on 104.3 The Fan. So, Judge Jacobs, adjust your robe because our lead case on the docket today is a literal traffic violation. The charge is disturbing the peace, and the defendant is the Denver Broncos head coach, Sean Payton. Now, The defense is basically all of the Broncos country argues that Sean Payton's approach to adding a little spice to this AFC West rivalry is needed, but however, the prosecution is saying that the head coach is dealing with Jonathan Cooper's very legal, real situation, and he doesn't have time to be acting like a frat boy in traffic. You're asking Sean, well, what are you talking about?
Sean, what are you talking about?
Well, the report is that the coach, Payton, has been rolling down his car windows around town just to scream insults at people wearing Raiders, Chiefs, and Chargers gear. So,
yes, sir.
Judge Jacobs, how do you rule in Sean Payton's favor? Is he in contempt for conduct unbecoming of a head coach, or are you giving him the key to the city for finally bringing the hate back to the AFC West?
Yeah. Well, by the way, it sounds like you're a little bent because you're a Raiders fan. How would you respond, Sean?
I would tell Coach, hey, man, keep it like that, because I go to a restaurant and they give me a Denver Broncos glass, I give it back to them.
Really? Well, I love it. But let's be honest. Let's say you were one of the recipients, right? Because that's the story. He's driving down the road. He sees you rocking your Raiders gear.
Go back to Las Vegas. Coach, I'm from here.
He's like, you suck. What would you do? I think most people would be like, was that Sean Payton?
Yeah. I think they would be taken by surprise, but I would like it because I think that that shows that Coach is actually human and he's tapped in with what's going on around the city. He's not an elitist thinking, well, hey, if somebody talks to me that's not within my locker room, then, they've got the plague or something like that, because I think that's what happens a lot of times.
Yeah, I'm still – one of my great strengths in this life, it's why I make a good judge, it's why I make a good attorney, and it's why I make a good consigliere, so to speak. I have a sixth sense to really read people. And we've talked about on the show, I've had kind of clairvoyant premonitions of things that were going to happen in certain friends' relationships, and I was able to warn them ahead of time. And then, of course, they don't believe me, and then it comes true, and they're like, Dan, how did you possibly know that? I just kind of have this sixth sense. Sometimes it's even like psychic ability. And I got to be honest with you, despite all my powers, I still don't have Sean Payton figured out. I was the very first person on these airwaves because I was the one on the air at the time that the job became available. And I said, without a doubt, I've done the research. I've done the analysis. I know what this team needs. It doesn't need another Vic Fangio. It doesn't need another Vance Joseph. It doesn't need another Nathaniel Hackett. It doesn't need another John Fox even. What it needs is a guy like Sean Payton, who's not only won, but's helped run a football NFL franchise successfully over the test of time, because the Broncos had foundational issues plaguing them. They needed somebody to get the whole dang thing right before they could even build anything, right? The three little pigs, they got to build a house out of bricks first. I wasn't expecting him to be at times so conceited and paranoid and rude and power hungry, and so that was difficult, right? But at other times he's kind of charming. This is one of those times. He's kind of now. Sometimes he's not nearly as charming as he thinks, right? When he's talking to the media, some of that I can get on board with, because when he takes a little shot at, like, let's say Mike Kliss.
He takes shots at the media a lot. I like it, though. I like it.
Some of it's rude and condescending and uncalled for. Some of it I like a little jab. I like a little play, back and forth, like, getting your shots in. It's like locker room talk,
Yeah, because sometimes he gets like that when the questions are rhetorical.
Yeah. Well, no, but like, for example, Kliss comes walking through a press conference or something, and not Kliss, Kisla, and he starts taking shots at him. Or he took shots at Kliss too. It's just, that can be fun. That can be, hey, you're part of the club. I'm going to give you a hard time just like I give my boys a hard time. I know we got to get to the next topic, but I haven't figured him out yet. I will say this. I'm all for this, though. He gets a pass, and I award sanctions against the state for forcing him to be here.
All right, our final case before we hit the commercial break and we check in with the RamosLaw.com text line. We have a medical dispute on the Dove Valley docket, And the fan base versus Bo Nix, the charge is tampering with medical evidence. Now, Your Honor, Bo Nix has dropped a workout video from this offseason this weekend showing him moving flawlessly through drills. He's sending a clear message to Broncos country and the NFL that the fractured ankle from January's playoff is subsequent and there's no more problems. Now, give us a verdict, Judge Jacobs. Do you accept this video as hard evidence that the ankle is healed, or are you issuing a state of optimism until we see him take the real hits in the preseason?
I would really feel a lot better if I had some concrete video of him doing high knees on an airplane. That is the most definitive proof that somebody's
doing the Russell Wilson?
Yeah, like until I see that, I have to reserve judgment. But no, I'm not buying into any pictures of or videos of him. That's PR. That's spin. That's propaganda. I don't care about any of that. I'm not worried about Bo Nix right now. Fear-mongering Zach Bye. Just we'll drill it into our heads forever.
Sean Boyd's fear-mongering a little bit.
Yeah, Sean Boyd fear-mongering. Zach Bye is the leader of the Bo Nix's leg is going to fall off train. I'm sure he'll have issues again. I'm sure he's not going to go the rest of his career without being injured. And probably he'll have some issues with this foot again. I think he's going to play a lot of good football in between now and that time. And they have the best. Alex Smith's leg, they almost had to amputate his leg. Yet he came back and played quarterback in the NFL. They can do miracles if you want to keep a quarterback in particular on the field. I'm not saying he's going to be completely fine the rest of his career, but I'm just not. And until I see something definitive that is his leg, his foot, ankle, or whatever is shot, I'm cool. I'm not hitting the panic button. I'm optimistic for the Broncos this year. I've changed my expectation. I was still a little bit hesitant because I still think they need some more weapons on offense, but I said, you know what? This is Sean's plan. He's been successful every season he's been here. He said, this is my squad. I want to mix in a little Jalen Waddle, but I got my team, and I'm ready to go. And until he proves me wrong or proves himself wrong, I'm going to ride with him. I'm bullish on the Broncos. Not worried about Bo Nix at this point. You can't do anything about it anyway. So I'm there on that. Now, so that was holding court with Judge Jacobs. Not next segment, but the segment after that, I'm going to give you, Sean, and the listeners a chance to judge me about something I did yesterday. And you guys can impose a sentence on me if you like. We'll have a little fun with that. But coming up next, I just wanted to talk about this. We haven't done any Nuggets on the show today. I'm actually feeling a lot better than I was about the Denver Nuggets moving forward. We'll get into that coming up next.
Should fans and media look past a certain thing when it comes to Payton Watson?
It's a gamble that you have to take if you're the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, and don't we have to get over the fact that it's a $25 million a year deal? I know it. The money is insane. It's stupid. It is reckless. It is foolish, okay? I get it. I hate to say it, but $25 million a year isn't that much.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
This feeling is brought to you by Aleve for Arthritis Pain Relief. What feeling is that? Well, it's the feeling you feel when you have relief from arthritis pain. It's that my hands don't hurt just holding things feeling. That, wow, I can actually move well feeling. You know, that go about your day without worrying about every little movement or ache feeling. Oh, yeah. Because Aleve targets arthritis pain at the source of inflammation for long-lasting relief, so you can keep moving through it. Feel up to 12 hours of arthritis pain relief with one dose. Feel Aleve. Use is directed for minor arthritis pain.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a social media manager.
Did you just post our Q4 earnings to your personal social media?
Oh yeah, used the trending audio and everything.
Are you one of the many people who thinks they're bad cholesterol?
Relax. It only went a little viral.
The SEC just commented with the eyeball watching emoji.
This is the job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs.
Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
Let the big dog eat. What's up, guys? Zach here, and I am all in on golf these days. Always looking for tee times, booking lessons, and saying yes to rounds with friends. And that's why Aurora has become my go-to for playing and practicing. Yes, we're talking about practice. From beginners just starting out to competitive players, Aurora Golf has a course you'll love. All 5 courses are in beautiful shape. The staff are super friendly, and the value, man, it's tough to beat. Book your next round tonight at golfaurora.com and give their Instagram a follow at golfaurora.co.
Robbie Dino here at BeatTheDA.com. I've handled over 7,000 cases, 300 trials. Let's face it, divorce is really impactful. You may have a controlling spouse. You may have a violent spouse. You may have been a victim of a domestic violence. You may be wrongfully accused of domestic violence. This all affects parenting rights. And let's face it, the kids are the most important. These are the things that need to be handled. They need to be handled appropriately by someone that's going to protect your kids and protect your rights. Hit me up at BeatTheDA.com, 720-706-5151.
Hey, it's Mike Evans with all these Bluebird days in Colorado. Enjoy the view through energy-efficient windows from Bluebird Windows and Doors. Through July, it's their Buy More, Save More event. Save up to 20% on your window and door projects. And when you mention you heard it from me, you'll save an extra 5%. Bluebird's family-owned, serving the Front Range for over a decade with windows, doors, and siding built for Colorado's harsh climate. Financing is available. Visit GoBluebirdCO.com. Bluebird Windows and Doors. Make today a Bluebird day.
Hey guys, Mark Schlereth here from my friends at Xfinity. Usually when something sounds way too good to be true, it is. Imagine someone says you can cut your mobile bill in half. Sounds like a fantasy, but with Xfinity Mobile, it's a real deal. Because when you have Xfinity Internet, you can cut your mobile bill in half. Plus, try Xfinity Mobile free for a year, no commitment. That's a lot of streaming, sharing, scrolling, and whatever else you can do with your phone, all for half the price and none of the commitment. What that means, you'll save big over Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Now all you have to do is think about how you'll spend all that extra money. Call 1-800-XFINITY, go to XfinityMobile.com, or visit a local Xfinity store to switch today. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Savings compare one line of Xfinity Mobile Select to comparable plans from T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T as of 3/24/26. Taxes and fees extra. $30 monthly discount limited to new mobile customers only. After 12 months, regular rates apply.
Colorado, it's time to take our recycling to the next level. That's why Recycle-On Colorado is bringing you more curbside and drop-off service from peaks to prairies. Guidelines as clear as our skies, so you know what goes where. And the price? As free as gawking at Bighorns on I-70. You deserve a recycling system you can count on, like your puffiest winter coat. And we're here to give it to you. Learn more at recycleon.org/Colorado.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You are listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan presents the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs.
And I know that I can break it if you can't take the heat. Get your ass out the
No.
We on a
No. Hardtail. Auto term. You know what? If you work for big corporations, they have, normally if you screw something up, you get like a, what do you call it? A PIP, performance improvement plan, things like that. But then there's other things, offenses that are like, they call them auto term, like immediate termination. Not for you personally, Sean, but the song, auto term, completely terminated.
You don't like that song?
No, man. We're gonna have some things we got to work through together.
We're gonna find the
because
rhythm.
first off,
Hold on.
I don't even like music that much, right? I only like good music, and there's such a small part of all music ever produced that's even decent, let alone good. So it's hard to find what I like, but I'm not big on what you like. And that's not to say that what you like is wrong, but one of the things I love about you is that you bring to the show an element of coolness and culture and other things that I just don't have any exposure to. And I love that. One of the downsides of that, though, is you apparently like hip hop and R&B and stuff like that, which I really don't care for.
See, I thought you grew up in Aurora, Dan. So I'm like,
I did grow up in Aurora.
And you know what the other part of it is? Like, I go throughout my whole week listening to tunes, trying to find stuff that I think Dan Jacobs and the loyal listeners are going to enjoy. You know how hard that is? I got a full-time job just trying to find bumpers.
Well, here's a tip. If you like it, we're not going to like it. I think that's probably something we can just establish right now because you're playing all this stuff you like. I don't like it. And all the research shows that most of the people listening to the show, although we want to expand that, they're kind of like me, right? So if it's hip hop or something like that, probably not. Now, you say, Dan, you grew up in Aurora. I went to Rangeview.
Dude, you grew up listening to the stuff that I be playing for.
No,
you,
I didn't heard any of that, man. I didn't hear any of that.
You crying out cornflakes.
Here's the funny thing about growing up in Aurora. I went to Rangeview, and everybody's just trying to find their way out there, right? Like none of us have, I don't want to say poor, but like most of us were not well off.
Back in the day, Aurora was like a nice suburb to me because I grew up in Montbello. So I mean, come on,
right. Well, it wasn't Montbello, but it certainly it was. But you got to remember there was Aurora, and pretty much all of Cherry Creek Schools is in Aurora. So if you're in that part of Aurora, which at that point was South Aurora, then yeah, you're doing really well. I was not in that part of Aurora. I was more in that mid-Aurora, type thing. And so I was in Aurora Public Schools, and we were all just fighting and scrapping, trying to find ourselves. It was funny because it's Rangeview, it's Aurora, and then there was this dynamic where all of a sudden everybody's a cowboy. It's like, dude, you're not. They're wearing boots and tight jeans and cowboy hats, and I was like, what, you're not a cowboy. What are you talking about?
Was it Spirit Week or something?
No, it was just that became a big clique. We had the stoners because they had a smoking section, right? And
the smokers corner.
Yeah, and we had our principal who just passed away recently, Mark Stein. He was kind of like the white Joe Clark. He cleaned up Aurora Central, and then we were getting a little raunchy over at Rangeview, so he came in and cleaned up that mess. But he was a big time smoker, and he would hang out in the smoking section. Everybody liked him for that. So we just had these different things that everybody's trying to find their own culture. And I always thought it was a little interesting that we had so many cowboys living in the suburbs, that type thing. But none of those guys were listening to whatever that thing was you played.
That was just Coolio.
Last
one was Coolio.
I've heard the song. Not a huge Coolio guy.
I mean, I'm not either, sir. But that's like one of those classic songs that if it played on KOS 107.5 for many, many years, then I would think I could get it off up here, right? You know what I mean?
But I didn't listen to KOS 107.5.
There it goes, right there, Dan. See, there it goes. Now I could get into my my KYGO bag.
There you go.
Maybe my 98.3, the jazz. The jazz.
I would much prefer jazz.
Oh, really?
Over
Say No More. Now
hip hop or whatever.
See, there we go,
KYGO is fantastic. The little. Well, I don't want to say it. I'll get run off the air. But, Kathy J's over on Cozy, right? Jenny D's over on Cozy.
We're going to have, by the time this show is over, by the time the summer's over, Dan's going to have a full makeover. He's going to come in dressed like Malibu's Most Wanted, hat to the side, Nikes on, big chains on, and the music's is gonna hit him a little different.
Yeah. Well, you had the Beatles a few spins back. I like the Beatles.
I say, I'm going all over the place. I'm going from Seattle to Cincinnati looking for the best music ever.
All right. I don't think I've told this story in a while, but while we're going down memory road. By the way, I was going to mention this. I have a meeting with the executives, this week on Wednesday. Right, and they're going to come in and they're going to tell me what to do with the show. It's like a David Letterman situation, and that's why I want you guys to log on to YouTube right now. I'd like to get to like 500 views today, and you have all day to do it. But if that's the only voice we have, is if we have some data, we can go, well, I understand you may not like the show, but look at all these people that support the Dan Jacobs Show. So if you want to help me out, do me a solid. It costs you nothing. Make sure today you log on to this podcast here on DenverSports.com. But, I've got the meeting with the suits today or on Wednesday, so I probably shouldn't be doing this. But it's my favorite bumper music story of all time.
Hit us with it.
All right, so those of you that go way back, you remember there was a man named Theory Smith. Do you remember Theory?
No.
Oh, dude, come on.
On that part of it, I'm green, but that's okay.
So he's like legendary black sports talk show host, and it really a fantastic story of overcoming adversity because he had MS, and he was in a chair and all that, and he grinded, and he got here, and he did a show called Sports Rap, and sometimes he hosted with CJ Charles Johnson, but his thing was he liked good music. He actually knew the guys from Earth, Wind, and Fire because they're from Denver. And what he would do is he'd roll in, he'd have a CD. Back then we had CDs, right? And we had these commercial, it's kind of hard to explain, but radio station CD players, and they had a dial on the front, right? So you could just go, you would actually take the CD, put it in this special hardware, and then put it in the machine, and you would turn this dial. And Theory would come in, and he'd have the CD, and he'd have a Post-it note. He's like, I would like you to play track 2 and track 7 and track 8 or whatever, and the board op would do that. I was the executive producer at the time. I didn't run the board a lot, but every once in a while I would jump in. I was kind of like the Yoda, right? Like, remember the Star Wars where Yoda actually pulls out his lightsaber and starts fighting? Every once in a while I would have to do that to show you young pups how the magic works behind the glass, right? So whenever he came in and did that to me with this little Post-it note, I was just playing The Price is Right or The Wheel of Fortune. I'd spin that wheel and whatever came, right? So he comes in one day, it's him and CJ, and he gives me this, dude, I'm like, what? Because I'm not even listening to what's going on, right? I'm like, what's going on? And Theory's looking at me like, dude, are you nuts? I'm like, oh man, I don't know what I just did, and I just potted it down. Well, the intern comes running in, he's all out of breath. He's like, what are you thinking? I'm like, what? What did I do? He goes, don't you call me bleep Whitey? It was a song that had the N-word in it, and it was talking about Whitey. And Theory's like, that's why I didn't want you to. That's why I give you the numbers, Jacobs.
Oh,
so you don't just play whatever you want to play. You play the good stuff.
That would have been horrible.
I'm like, and that was right around the Janet Jackson time. I'm like, if anybody here heard that, I'm fired.
Now, see, Dan, I come in with some Coolio, Voyage, and you stopped the music like I played something like that. You said I was on a term. I was on a
that song.
Term, bud.
Well, the problem was the beginning of that song really got my gall, and then it transitioned into something a little more tolerable that I had actually heard before. So we just got some things.
You said if you can't take the heat, get your ass out the kitchen. What's wrong with that?
We got some things to work through. I think we're learning. By the way, we're mentioning the YouTube chat, the Sean Honda YouTube chat. We'll get to a couple of those right now, then we'll run over to the ramoslaw.com text line. Hey, Dan, love your show. As always, what are you cooking today? Dude, you're going to hear next segment. I'm cooked out, at least for a minute. So I'm not cooking anything today. I like this one. This is from at AHEJOUS 8649. I don't know how to pronounce that. But he said, people need to stop bullying Dan. Oh, I get it now. So he's responding. The first guy says, so at James Talmadge 2371 says, Dan, get a clue. You're speaking rubbish. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Well, this guy came to my defense. Well, thank you, AHEJOUS. Bruh, people need to stop bullying Dan. Bruh, why you say rubbish? Are you British? Or is you British is what he said. So anyway, here to support you, Judge. This is from Rosewood 393. Here to support you, Judge. I smoked the baked beans yesterday. Just put 3 racks of St. Louis ribs on the smoker just now. Well, that is awesome. Also, David Hernandez, just at David Hernandez tweets in support. All right, love you guys. Let's get you guys on that YouTube so we can get our views up. What I want to be able to walk into that meeting on Wednesday and goes, well, we beat the drive. We beat the drive. We had more listeners on Sunday than viewers on Sunday than the drive had on Friday. So I need you guys to get on YouTube. So at least I have something in my pocket. You know what I mean? Support the show. So anyway, love that. Got some of you on the ramoslaw.com text line. Hi, Dan. Just caught your memory on Theory. I love listening to him. And when I called, he always put ladies in first. Thanks, Dan, and keep up the fabulous sports talk. Sue in Longmont.
Shout outs to Sue in Longmont. I might even go up to Longmont for this tournament today to go.
Is it bowling?
Yeah.
So what's the deal? What's the skinny?
Man, it's a bowling tournament. It's called the Amateur Bowling Tour. and it's all throughout Colorado. They go to different bowling houses all throughout the state, and this week is out in Longmont. They have 3 cuts happening today, 3 groups and stages, and if you make the cut, then you get to play for some money later on this evening. So the key is to not go on Saturday, just go on Sunday, because if you make the cut on Saturday, then you have to drive up on Sunday to bowl again. So the best thing to do is just go in on Sunday, place, and then make the cut.
Okay, awesome. I like it. All right, so I want to get into this real quick. People seem so dejected. Our man, Zach Bai, got everybody so excited. He did another one of those, this is not a drill, about the odds on LeBron James. For one day, they did a little crypto thing, and they skyrocketed. They went from like 65 to 1 to 25 to 1 to like 5 to 1 that LeBron was coming here. And then they've really fizzled out. Now, maybe it's like the Peyton Manning thing or the Russell Wilson thing where all of a sudden it's like, oh, man, we got it. I doubt that's going to happen. But everybody was excited, and now that it's fizzled out, people are really – and the Nuggets just haven't done a whole lot yet as far as, the off season. So people were panicking. I've really tried to get up to speed on how this whole freaking CBA with the NBA works. I'm sure I'm not getting it 100% right, because every time you think you understand the NBA's collective bargaining agreement and salary structure, some other rule jumps up out of nowhere and bites you, and you just have no idea. But I think I have a pretty good bead on the reality of what's going on with the Denver Nuggets and how they need to kind of structure their roster to move forward. And so I'm less panicked. And we're hearing about Payton Watson. Well, guess what? Payton Watson looks like he's becoming more affordable. But a lot of people are like, dude, we're not going to be able to afford it because they have to pay the repeater tax and this and that. And I actually liked what Mike Evans said on this. He said this, I believe, on Friday. But we're actually running a promo kind of saying the same thing, running one of these clips. But Mike Evans basically said, hey, man, it's not your money. Don't worry about it. It sounds like a lot of money, but in NBA dollars, it's nothing. So Mike Evans on the morning show talking about Payton Watson. All right, let me fill here for just a second. I threw a curveball there at my man SB Sean Boyd behind the glass, and he was actually up in the hallway practicing his curveball, his strike, down the lane. You got to hit that board and hit that pocket. So he's going to pull this feet up. But I do agree with him. You'll hear the clip for yourself. I do agree with him, though, that this panic over the Nuggets. By the way, I do blame Zach Bai. Because Zach Bai was like sounding the fire alarm. It's going to be a financial Armageddon because of this repeater tax. And he was right to do that. And I'm giving him a hard time. I'm glad that he brought it onto our radar. But it's not really as bad as what we thought. But, listen to this clip from Mike Evans.
It's a gamble that you have to take if you're the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, and don't we have to get over the fact that it's a $25 million a year deal? I know it. The money is insane. Okay? It's stupid. It is reckless. It is foolish. Okay? I get it. And I can see why, some folks are like, man, Payton Watson, $25 million a year? I mean, that no. Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but $25 million a year isn't that much. I know, and it's something you got to wrap your mind around as a basketball fan, as a Nuggets fan. But when you're looking at 5-year, $125 million deals for guys like Christian Brown and Payton Watson in their early to mid-20s, those are actually good value deals. They really are. They're the kind of deals that could age really, really well if these guys turn out to be the real deal.
Yeah, that's the going rate.
It's going right.
That's the price of doing business right there. I mean, that's just what it is.
All right. I pretty much agree with Mike, but the one huge caveat that I'm not so comfortable with is what Mike said at the very end there. He says, if these guys turn out to be the real deal, and that's what I'm nervous about with Payton Watson, you're gambling. You're just straight up gambling. Like we gambled on MPJ, and that didn't turn out all that well. Right? And we gambled on Christian Brown. And right now that's considered one of the worst contracts in all of the NBA. he has a chance to turn it around, of course, but it was a gamble. Like, well, if we want to keep him, we got to give him all that money. And I really liked the way Josh Dover puts it in one of the promos we're running right now. He says he's terrified. He's terrified of giving out this ridiculous contract. No, it's not ridiculous, but this huge contract to a guy with a sample size of actually playing well in about 40 total NBA games in 4 years.
Yeah, see, and that could be problematic when you start factoring in the injury history of this roster and you giving them that amounts of money in contracts, right? And you're afraid of that second apron.
Right. And so the only reason it's really worrisome at all is exactly what you just mentioned, Sean. It's not the fact that, well, is Sean, Payton Watson worth $25 million? Well, I'm not so sure he is, but it's just because you went all in to put this roster together to make a run, and they flamed out in the first round, and now you're in this position. If we sign Payton Watson, we got to cut somewhere else. And they're going to cut somewhere else. So that's what we're worried about, right? Like, if we were young and up and coming and we didn't have a bunch of good players, then yeah, you're like, yeah, give him $20 million, give him $25 million, no problem, a year, no problem. But it's just the cap constraints that they're facing right now. But here's the good news. So once we kind of fizzled out in the LeBron James situation, people now are getting very uneasy because we're just not hearing a lot out of what the Denver Nuggets are doing. And so I looked at it. By the way, they're smart. They're really playing it smart. They're not panicking. They know they have to get under the luxury tax line, which is really the big difference that you need to establish in your mind. Because I think, for example, when Zach first brought it up, he was looking at the cap, and he thought, well, we have to get under the cap, otherwise we pay the repeater tax, and then you could be looking at $250 million in tax penalties, not the payroll, the penalties. And so that would be concerning. But it's my understanding you don't actually have to get under the cap. I don't even know why they have this cap, because it's not real. What you have to get under is the luxury tax line, which is 30 or 40, 35 million more than the cap, right? So it's a very, very soft cap, I guess, to put it generously. So if I'm doing my math correct, which is, like I said, I'm a Range U grad. I may not be doing it right. But if I'm doing my math correct, and Joe Goodwin yesterday, he thought I was pretty much there. You need to, because it's not just Payton Watson you have to re-sign, which is going to add, if they're smart, they can backload that contract so they can say, all right, Payton, you want a contract worth X, $120 million or $100 million. We're willing to give that to you, but in year one, you got to take 15 or 17. And then you'll be way overpaid on the back end. The whole contract's guaranteed. Can you take more money later to get us out of the repeater tax? Which I think, especially now that he doesn't have a bunch of suitors, I think he's going to be willing to do. But let's just say somewhere in that 20 to 25 million range. That's not all they have to spend, because they still have to fill out the rest of their roster, which is 5 or 6 players, and almost everybody on the team. Maybe not the rookies they drafted, which is why they wanted to get in the second round, because they have to pay less money to the rookies if they make the roster. But everybody after that, unless you apply some sort of exceptions, you're talking generally, and it's different for how many years you've been in the league, it's generally $3 to $5 million per. So you could have anywhere from another 10 to 15 that you just need to spend just to fill out your roster with just basic players. And so my math says $40 million on Tunis and this and that. So we're talking about, how do we fill a $40 million gap? But that includes you re-sign Payton Watson. Well, Cam Johnson's gone. Okay, I don't want any more conversations. You're going to hear this. This is going to be one of those things that down the line, the other shows are going to be talking about it, and you heard it here first on the Dan Jacobs, because I'm telling you it's done. He is gone. He is not going to be here by the trade deadline, because that's when the Nuggets have to get under the luxury tax, by the trade deadline, just like they did last year, so they avoided the repeater tax. And Cam Johnson is a valuable contract because it's expiring. And the way the rules work is the team that takes on his salary, like the Nuggets would love to trade for him again, because if they traded for him this year, they could waive him and spread out the $20 million he's owed over X amount of years. And so it dramatically reduces the cap hit in this year. It's called a something stretch, cut and stretch or something like that. So another team is going to want that. And you can just hopefully just say, all right, give us a first round pick and you can have Payton or not Payton, Cam Johnson. He's going to be gone. It's not, well, they're trying to, it's going to happen because there will be a team between now and the trade deadline that wants to be able to get that cap relief, that tax relief. So that's going to happen. Well, that clears up what? $22 million. Boom. Gone right off the top. You need to get to 40. Boom. $22 million right there. And then the next most obvious move that's probably going to happen, especially if you bring back Payton Watson, Mr. Nugget's going to have to go.
Jamal Murray or
Jamal Murray, if you could, he makes $52 million. Well, if you only need to cut 40 and you cut 20 with Cam, Jamal Murray would make all the sense in the world. I don't think the Nuggets want to do that. I think they've just been clouded in their judgment on what he brings to the table. If they got rid of Jamal, like Zach said they were going to do, now, by the way, trading Jamal is not the same thing. You can't just dump all the salary for a draft pick. There's no team can take that on. But maybe you could get $30 million worth of salary back or 20, and you could make that work. But Aaron Gordon makes $32 million. If you can get somebody to bite on a contract like that and really take back minimal salaries, or there are other teams that have their own Cam Johnsons that they can trade, right, so that you can take on their salary and immediately cut them and stretch it out. So if you can trade Aaron Gordon or Jamal Murray for a player like that and maybe just a draft pick, it's done. You're under the salary cap. So it's not as bad as we thought. It's not like, how are they on earth? For a minute there, I was guilty. It's like, how on earth? They're $100 million over now, and they're going to add Payton Watson. That's $125 million. How on earth are they ever going to cut that salary? But that was just a poor misunderstanding of the rules on my part, because you don't have to get under, they're 100 over the cap, but it's not the cap they have to get under. They have to get under the luxury tax threshold. So, and they've already, taken $8 million off or whatever by getting rid of Valanciunas. They made some other moves. And so that's where we're at. So I'm actually not feeling as bad, because I'm going to be honest with you. A team with a rising Payton Watson, if he reaches his potential, a rising Christian Brown, if he can get healthy, and Nikola Jokic still on the back end of his prime, that's a team that it would suck to lose Aaron Gordon, but Aaron Gordon's not Aaron Gordon anymore. He's not the same guy. You just can't count on him, and now his extension's kicking in. He just makes too much money. And so we'll have fond memories of him walking down the street shirtless after winning the title and him playing, being a key member of our championship team. But all good things come to an end, and he's going to go. And I think it could make the team better, because they're going to develop other players. They've got to change the chemistry and the makeup of this roster, because the guys that are on it as of right now don't have the mental toughness, the culture to win championships. And the whole rest of the league, not a whole, but a whole lot of teams in the league have gotten a lot better this offseason, and the Nuggets haven't done anything. They need to get under the repeater, make sure they don't fall into the repeater tax, and they need to say, it's not that we had a bad roster last year, it just wasn't the right roster. We have to get the right players to get back in championship contention. All right, now I promised you guys earlier in the show, we did the Holden Court with Judge Jacobs. And I judged, the topics that were before me on the docket. I'm going to give you guys a chance to judge me and put a verdict down on me. And it's simply going to be the question, because I did something yesterday. I thank you listeners for helping me out. But was I the best husband ever or the worst friend ever? We'll get into that coming up next.
Coach Prime hit Big 12 Media Day looking healthy, energized, and fully locked in.
Baby, we're coming.
After beating cancer and rebuilding his strength, Deion Sanders made it clear he's ready to lead a revamped Buffs roster featuring new defensive playmakers, a maturing QB room, and a team built to compete, not just talk. Prime says he's strong and he's there to win, but what will actually happen when the Buffs take the field this fall? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
All right, you guys know I love the DeLorean, right? And we incorporate that into our business over at Jacobs Law, 303 Law 4040. Save that number in your phone. I hope you never need it, but accidents do happen. So you'll want to have it there when you do need it. In case you need it, it's 303 Law 4040. Now, we just did a little remodeling over the weekend, which I'll talk about next segment. And we have some new swag, some 303 Law 4040 swag. But you know I love the DeLorean. Every parent that comes into 303 Law 4040 and sits down for a consultation, we give them a DeLorean for their kids. Isn't that amazing? A DeLorean for your kid every single time. Now, not a real DeLorean, of course, but I have a whole bunch of Back to the Future DeLoreans and regular. They're Hot Wheels cars. So we have those. Every single kid that gets through actually gets to pick out his own DeLorean while we sit down and go over your case and decide what's right. How do we get you feeling better? How do we deal with the insurance companies? How do we deal with medical bills? And how do we get you compensated for what the other party puts you through? We take care of the kids, and we take care of you. It's Jacobs Law, 303 Law 4040.
Performance matters in intimate moments. Don't let ED ruin them. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and I want to assure you that if you're like the vast majority of guys, you don't have to suffer with ED anymore. In fact, you might be pleasantly surprised at how the right treatments could positively impact your love life. At the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, our advanced medical therapies go far beyond pills. We have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, and we offer specific and combinative treatments that can dramatically enhance both your performance and your stamina. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a far greater level of intimacy to both you and the one you love, perhaps performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and find out why our advanced treatment strategies offer so much more. Your first visit is just $99 and gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, advanced medical science to improve men's lives.
Hey guys, your boy Steve here today about my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if he can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house, all cash, and he can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. Want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
When you've been hurt after a traumatic car crash, you don't need a sales pitch from an attorney with big promises and a loud voice. You need a team who fights for real results fast. That's why so many across the country choose the Berg Simpson Law Firm. Berg Simpson is nationally recognized, but is local right here in Colorado. So give us a call and let our team fight for the results you deserve today.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives.
Don't care for my local hometown team, ROX rocks heating and air. Don't get fooled by out-of-state private equity corporations that are buying local HVAC companies, offering higher prices, bad service, and shady sales tactics. Don't trust your home to someone out of state when you have the best company right here in town. ROX are experts in local energy rebates and tax credits to save you money only at ROX rocks heating and air. Now play that jingle.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX rocks heating and air.
You're listening to the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan.
All right, half hour to go. Dan Jacobs Show. Rounding out our Sunday. So yeah, I started the show yesterday by thanking our listeners. You, loyal Dan Jacobs Show listeners. Those of you that, for example, right now are going to support the show by going to the YouTube channel. By the way, just hit subscribe while you're there. I think you can actually hit a notification button for the Fan Weekends, so you'll get notified every time my show's on, and I think also when Kyle and Cello are on. But I was like, because I'm here doing the show, I'm getting out of a chore I really don't want to do.
Now, wait a minute. Does it involve an outside activity or is it indoors?
It was indoors, but it was. Let me just get into it. So we have my lovely wife Kimberly. We run 303 Law 4040, and of course now I'm the lawyer. So we started out in actually what the leasing agent called the smallest office in Denver, the Denver Tech Center. It started as a closet, and then they said, well, we could rent this out. It's just big enough. And so I originally got it just to get out of the house, right? And then we started 303 Law 4040 because they had converted it into an office. And then eventually, as you guys have trusted us with your injury claims, we've grown, and we got same building, modest office, but nice office. We try and make it as nice as possible. I got a bunch of sports memorabilia in there, DeLorean memorabilia, and it's nice. And we just got some new furniture, and but of course I have the corner office. Would you expect? Yeah, I mean, Sean, I would imagine you expect nothing less, right? I'm the it's my name on the company. So, of course, I get the corner office. It has my little NAP therapy couch in there. It's nice. And the benefit of it is it also has the main AC duct or vent, and it just pours cold air into the office. In fact, so much so that I get cold. I have to put on, my Jacob's Law, 303 Law 4040 hoodie. I literally will have to put layers on. It's so cold in my office. Meanwhile, down the hall, my lovely wife, Kimberly, she's a certain age. She's starting to experience certain things in life. And her office does not have an AC vent like that. And she's hot all the time. And she comes in my office, and I'm putting on a coat, and she's like, what? And I'm like, whatever my baby wants, my baby gets. So I gave her my office, which I'm like, hey, is that not a nice thing to do? I'm taking her to meet Dean Cain at the end of the month, her favorite, celebrity crush, all that stuff. I'm trying. She works really hard. She takes really good care of our clients over at 303 Law 4040. I'm thinking, hey, man, I already had Husband of the Year locked up with the whole Vegas Dean Cain trip, but this leave no doubt. I gave up my office, my corner office, and I'm going into a very small office right next to hers.
Can't wait.
But the moving day was yesterday. We got to move things around. And I got also my daughter for my Father's Day present. I have this really rare DeLorean dealership poster from 1979 that actually never got distributed. She framed it up for me, and I wanted to hang that at the office. Well, my buddy Hector's in town. He's like my best friend. He's a little bit on the frugal side, right? So him and his family, they're kind of run their mouths about they're going to do this or that. Like, we're going to go to this football game. We're going to go to that football game. And then when it's time to actually go, well, I ain't got no money. And so what I did this year was on Christmas Day, I'm like, I don't want to hear that anymore. You ain't got no money for flights or whatever. So I bought him a Go Wild Pass from Frontier. So you can get $16 flights. And he's a physical education teacher, so he's got the summer off right now. And I'm like, man, I got a lot of stuff I need help with. Why don't you come on out? And he's like, I don't know. And then boom, $16 flight pops up. Like, dude, come on. And I have to cook for the best free meal in Denver. Our buddy Barbecue Bob Kunkel has given us thousands of dollars worth of brisket. I can't make it all at one time. So I have him come over. I put him to work. We cooked 140 pounds of brisket in 2 days. And you got to chop that stuff up and make sure it's, good to go so it stays, good for when we serve it. He's dying. And I said, well, I got more work for you. You got to go to the office and help Kim move, and you got to hang this giant 5.5 foot tall poster and all that. So I'm here at work slaving over this hot microphone while he's over there. Kim's like, dude, it took him 2 hours to hang that thing. And then he had to come home and, chop more brisket and all that. So now I took him to some nice places. We got some good food. Went to the Perry Steakhouse for the Friday pork chop special. For those, if you know, you know.
I've been there before, and I've had that pork chop too. It's fire.
Yeah, they only do it on Fridays. Fantastic. So I tried to sprinkle in some fun, but I worked him like a dog on the trip.
But that's a good payoff, though. I'm not going to lie. A Perry's Friday night, that's a good payoff.
Oh, yeah. We went to hibachi. He wanted hibachi. You know what he loves? He's from Albuquerque. He loves Good Times green chili burritos, breakfast burritos. So we got him some of those. I fed him right. Don't get me wrong. I had a Wagyu steak that we cooked the minute he landed the plane. We put that on the cast iron. I fed him good, but his back was hurting, and he was like, oh, man. So I don't know. What do I get credit for? You guys, did I do that? Is that okay? Or is that, I think you got to issue a verdict: husband of the year or bad friend of the year.
I think that I'm going to go with the bad friend.
Oh, really?
You definitely broke the guy code here, for the simple fact that why was he the one that had to move wife's room around?
Well, because I'm a public servant, and here I was slaving over a hot microphone, doing my duty, doing my darn best to spread the light and joy of the Denver Nuggets and Denver Broncos and Bo Nix and all that stuff to our listeners. They deserve nothing less. And so he's like, well, am I just going to you with the station? He's done that before. He's just come and sat in the bullpen and whatever. I'm like, no. You're going to the office. And so that's why, because I had a duty. I couldn't,
Is he one of the friends that you can't take out in public? Go?
No, of course, but we needed help. You know what I mean? Like, no, we run around public. I take him to games, all that stuff.
Now, do you think that Miss Kimberly could possibly feel like, yes, you're doing the nice things at the end of the month, but because you took time to have said friend help out move her office rather than you doing it, do you think you lost some points with her?
No, she felt bad, though. She genuinely felt bad. She's like, man, he was working hard. She felt bad.
She might have paid him a little something underneath the table.
So there was definitely some of that going on. But, by the way, just in fairness, just in my defense, when I go see him in Tampa, I also work really hard because we always, he acts like he's a big pitmaster. The best work gets done at his house when I'm there. And I'll be up on. See, the frustrating thing about him is he hates pellet grills. He's like a purist. He's like a snob. He's like, no, man, you gotta have that wood and that fire. Well, every time I come to his house, so he insists on having a stick burner. Guess who's up all night tending that fire and doing that work?
The honorable one.
Me and the dog. It ain't him. Right? And so, I work probably some of my hardest days of the year going over there making all that food every time I go there. So I really don't feel bad. If he comes here and he returns the favor, it's all good. And then I always make sure he's well fed and all that stuff. So in my defense, it's a two-way street. I work pretty darn hard when I go see him, and sometimes I do have to stay behind while he goes to work and things like that. But now the wife, it's a whole other kettle of fish because she's, like I said, she's going through a certain time of life, and her emotions are running a little bit crazy. So she gets what she wants. She gets the nice office, and you know what? She feels guilty. And so she's crying. Oh, I shouldn't have done this. I'm making you guys go through all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, honey, it's fine. I love it. It's fine. You can have it looks great, blah, blah, blah. But, she's beating herself up over it now.
Well, it's a sacrifice, and maybe she feels bad that she knows that you sacrificed, and, maybe there might be a chance. Do you think there'll be a chance you guys swap back?
No, I don't want to go back. I want her to be happy. Like, she can have the air conditioning. She can have the night, whatever office she wants. I have no qualms over it. It's like, honey, do it. You're more than welcome to it.
Yeah, I smell another DeLorean being purchased here.
I like where your head's at. All right, we'll get your texts in YouTube, Sean Ponda YouTube chats coming up next. It's the final segment of the Dan Jacobs Show.
The conversation around the Nuggets restricted free agent is heating up. But is there a real question that needs to be asked before a deal is signed?
I need more proof from Payton Watson. Honestly, I'm terrified to give this guy a $100 million contract. Terrified for the Denver Nuggets and me as a fan to watch him do what Christian has done. And with Payton Watson, I go, all right, so what do I have, a 40-game sample size and I'm supposed to give you $100 million? Yeah, I'm worried about that.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
DeerTrailMeatCo.com. You heard me talk about my buddy Hector. He's actually the guy that got me into smoking meats many years ago, 25 years ago. I didn't even know what a smoker was, really. So I kind of give him some credit for getting me into that. And he was a little disappointed because he came to help out for my daughter's graduation party in May, and I sent him home. We actually had to buy an extra suitcase or pay for an extra bag on the airline because I filled him up with Deer Trail Meat Co. meats. We put him in those special freezer bags and things like that, and he took a whole load of Deer Trail Meat Co. meats home. He was happy as a clam, and I don't have any more. I got to call up and do another order with my man Travis Valine over at DeerTrailMeatCo.com. So I wasn't able to load him up this time, but last time he was so happy, and he went through all of it in 2 months, and so he was hoping for some more. Don't be like me. Get ahead of your needs. Call now, get that fridge and freezer filled up. They're going to deliver it to your front door with a money-back guarantee at a tremendous savings, up to 80% of what you pay at the grocery store. Check them out. You're going to thank me for it. DeerTrailMeatCo.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-330-8323 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-330-8323. That's 800-330-8323. What do you have to lose? Call 800-330-8323. Again, 800-330-8323.
If you're practicing real estate in Denver but still not getting the results you want, listen up. Agents who are winning in this market aren't guessing. They've got the right training, the right systems, and the right support. And that's exactly what you get at Weichert Realtors Professionals. Proven strategies to win more listings, technology that keeps you connected anywhere, and coaching that actually helps you close. Take your business to the next level. Call Tim Davis at Weichert Realtors Professionals at 303-302-4000. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Text SECURE to 989898.
No! USA is up 2-0. That is the most dangerous lead in soccer.
Relax, Mike.
See that, Dan? My left eye is twitching. That's my warning eye. It'll be 2-2 by stoppage time. It's never wrong.
With early payout from Bet365, I got paid the second they went up 2 goals. So to me, it's now the safest lead.
Early payout from Bet365, huh? Now my right eye is twitching, Dan.
Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Colorado. T's and C's apply. In-app only.
It's the Honorable Judge Dan Jacobs on Denver Sports, 104.3 The Fan.
All right, final segment of this week. Oh, by the way, Sean, I forgot to point this out. Your competition is listening. So the guy that came into your bowling tournament, he's on his way up to Longmont now. He went in and slayed. I'm assuming it's a he. I actually don't know. But this person went in and slayed last night, top on the board.
It might be a guy named Sean Searles. I could pull up the standings. So
Okay, well, yeah, he said he was the top dog last night, and now he's going to come in and take your lunch and everybody else's lunch with a smile on his face.
So he's gonna, because you can place twice and get paid twice. So you know, I'm not mad at him. Get your money, baby.
Yeah, so he's coming for you. So
I like it, man. It's a big day.
Appreciate him listening and texting in on the way up to Longmont to get the bowl on. It's just too bad I'm retired, Sean, because maybe I'd show you a thing or two. Yeah, former state champion. But,
I heard one of these guys earlier talking about they won a trophy like at 4 or 5 years old in bowling, and they were like holding on to that like an Al Bundy's trophy. I thought that was a little tasteless, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's all I got, man. 7th grade state championship. And got invited on a date by the prettiest girl at the lanes, and I was too scared to take her up on it. That was my heyday, I guess.
You folded?
I folded.
She invited you to Celebrity down on Colorado
She called me
Boulevard?
up, and she was gorgeous. Called me up and was like, "Hey, will you do this?" And then I was like, "Oh, I can't. I'm busy." I was just such a wimp. And then she continued to like me. So as she got more attractive throughout our schooling days, she would come up and embarrass me, and she'd like grab my butt before school and stuff like that. And then finally we got to high school, and my buddy had her in like some thing, and he's like, "Oh man, this lady's gorgeous, this and that." And I wasn't like you, Sean. I was not known as a ladies' man.
I was a scrub when I was in high school. Go ahead.
So I wasn't like setting the world on fire. And my buddy actually had no problem getting stuff, and he's like, "Man, this girl's so gorgeous, and she smacked me down, gave me a whooping, and she gave me no time of day." And he talked about this girl for like a year or two. And then finally, you know how like back in the day you'd look at the yearbooks and you go, there she is. And I go, "Oh, her? I could go out with her anytime I want." He's like, "Yeah, right. She's like gorgeous." I'm like, "All right." That week, bam, called her up. "Hey,
you flexed your peacock. Peacock on that.
My peacock chest.
Okay.
So
okay.
Those were my bowling days. By the way, somebody says, "No way I'm giving the office away. You should be calling the leasing office about having central air conditioning. I'll be your friend if they are whining." Yeah, it's just a matter of like makeup, the way it's an older building, and they I think it was designed to just, the air conditioning, I think here's the problem. The air conditioning, that vent is designed to heat that entire suite. But as we added offices, or they've added offices, they put up they're almost like temporary walls. They're real walls, but so it kind of cut off the natural airflow. So that office gets frigid ice cold, and the rest of the office, I guess gets hot. Like, and her office is right up against the sun and the glass. I don't mind, man. Like, I don't need the big fancy office. And it's weird. It's the weirdest phenomenon, because if you go to our YouTube chat right now, you can see me. I'm still a big guy. I don't think I'm like a huge fat guy, but I'm not skinny. that's not the way we were built. Jacobses are not built skinny.
Just a whole lot of man, right? Dan.
But I was 425 pounds before. That was a big man. And I remember even before that, I sweat all the time, right? Like, I remember being 8 years old in South Florida going, "Man, why do I sweat all the time?" I was always a lifelong sweater. Well, put in my work, lost the weight, and something weird happened. One, I no longer sweat. Just doesn't happen. Hardly ever. And two, I get cold, which is weird because I'm not 150 pounds. Like, I still got some protection, some layers, but I just get freezing cold. So I'm more than happy to let her have the office. She works so hard. She loves working with everybody. Man, I want her to be happy when she's at work.
A valiant act of chivalry by the honorable one.
Yeah, I think so. Far be it from me to pat myself on the back here at the Dan Jacobs Show. Like Chad Andrews said one time, "This ain't the Dan Jacobs Show. We're not going to spend 3 hours telling everybody how right we were." And then he proceeded to go tell everybody how right he was. But, I'm taking a little credit there. Take a little victory lap. Your Honor, I appreciate your good wishes last week for my cancer treatments. Off topic, when is the required hourly ID, which is Longmont, Denver? Why is it Longmont, Denver? Kevin from... Oh, it says when the required hourly station ID hits. Why is it Longmont, Denver? That's from Kevin in Loveland.
That's a great question.
Because we also have KARS, which serves Fort Collins, which we're simulcasting on now. But I believe the transmitter is located in Laramie. Not Laramie, but Cheyenne or something. So it's just FCC rules. Where is the physical location of your transmitter? And also, how far is it permitted to reach? So
yeah, because when we go down south, you don't really hear 104.3.
It gets to the fringes of the Springs, and then it kind of, as you get into the Springs, it kind of transitions. But so it's it's how long what your broadcast license says, how far can you go, and things like that. And so it's just FCC rules. I think our physical transmitter must be located somewhere up north, even though we serve the Denver metro area. That's all. That's why. Just like the station KARS, which, by the way, we need to take over the Springs. We need to get another station. Like KARS is our simulcast partner in Fort Collins. Shout out to all you guys. We need to do one for Pueblo and Colorado Springs and things like that. We need to take over the state, basically. My old station's in Sterling. You would do better if you had one, the Dan Jacobs Show out there. We need to take over the world. We need to take over the state.
Dan, you'd actually be amazed, man. Like, a lot of times I tell people, matter of fact, some Moxie guys came over this week to my house to spray my house.
Some what?
Moxie. The company's name is Moxie. So some pest control company came by to do some work, and they came inside my house, and I had tennis on. And they're like, man, dude, there's no football on, so we just have to watch tennis, huh? And I'm like, man, come on, man. I'm like, this is the Wimbledon. It's lit right now. I love tennis. I'm a sports guy. I work in sports broadcasting. I've got to watch everything. And he's like, well, yeah, what do you do? And I told him what I did and where I work with. And then he says, oh, man, dude, when do you work? I said, on Sundays. He's like, man, you on the Dan Jacobs Show. So
hey,
amazed how many people actually know you. You're kind of famous out here, baby.
Oh, well, I mean, I thank you. I take that graciously. I do, and this is about the listeners, not me. I am continually amazed and humbled by the amount of people, and we've been on the air for 8 years, and it goes way beyond, and that's my thing. I was joking about having to meet with the station management, and I do tell them, I say, I wish you could hear the great feedback we get from our loyal listeners. I never in a million years would have thought we would have built this community here on Saturdays and Sundays with the Dan Jacobs Show. It's amazing. Like we get hundreds of calls at 303 Law 4040 and just good people doing good things. And I'm really humbled by it. It is awesome. And a lot now I'm not going to let that, hey, look how, do you know who I am or anything like that? No. It's all in humility.
Yeah, we still grind
in humbleness. And Sean, you're a part of that show now. You're a part of that community. You know, I've told you I appreciate the elements that you bring to the show that I can't bring to the show, and we're having a good time. Joe does a good job on Saturdays as well, and it's just a fun. Like I said, we're just different than anything else on the station. We just do. I love all my other guys on the station and their shows, but they got their thing, and then on the weekends we have our thing, and I love it, man. It's just incredibly humbling. You guys have definitely been a blessing in my journey through life. A big part of my story. So I love it, man. I'm glad that you get, like my wife, she she feels like a celebrity just because I put her in radio ads. When I love that wife, Kimberly, people get excited to talk to her, but she's 100% the real deal. So it's a good thing we have coming on, lifting each other up. By the way, Kevin and Loveland, keep going on your cancer journey. We will do everything we can to lift you up. Here, give you positive energy to fight that fight. So I'm glad it went well. It's going well, and we'll be here for you every step along the way that you want to share your journey with us. And having said that, that's about it. We're done for this week, but go check us out on YouTube. And by the way, sign up for the weekend's notifications on YouTube while you're there. Can we get to 515 views? So I have a little ammo going into my meeting with the suits. I can defend myself just a little bit. I'd love for you to be involved in the show on YouTube. You can keep checking it out all day. You missed a segment. That's good. We got you covered. Appreciate you. We will see you again Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for the Dan Jacobs Show next week. Appreciate you.
He's Judge Dan J. He doesn't mean no harm, but he doesn't mind telling you he's right, you are wrong. He's reading your text, he's taking your calls. It's the Dan Jacobs Show, and he'll decide what the law will allow. He's making your day the only way he knows how, by giving you the facts, cutting through the BS now. He's Judge Dan J. He doesn't mean no harm, but he doesn't mind telling you he's right and you are
Colorado Rockies just landed 10 players on ESPN's Top 100 Trade Candidates, tied for the most in baseball. And suddenly the deadline might run straight through Denver. From Mickey Moniak's hot bat to Antonio Senzatella's breakout as a shutdown reliever, contenders are circling, and the new Di Podesta-led front office faces its first real test. Will the Rockies cash in their chips and accelerate the rebuild, or play it safe? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Legacy means tomorrow matters. Hi folks, Dan Cicchini, Done Right Home Improvements. Tomorrow, next week, next month, 10 years from now matters. My wife Susan and I started Done Right in our garage in 1985, and our family has always been focused on legacy. What we do, how we do it, how we treat people matters. As a result, we've grown to be one of the largest companies of our kind in Colorado, specializing in kitchens, baths, counters, floors, finished basements, windows, and doors. Here's our son Todd.
Dad, doing what's right shapes all of our projects. Whether a first-class kitchen renovation, a turnkey bathroom remodel, a full-service basement finish, or new windows and doors. We'll wow you with your project, your experience, and with an 8% scheduling incentive and a special financing rate of 0% APR with 72